2 weeks it'll be quiet, but just wait. By the end of the month, we're talking combine. We will have news coming out in regards to free agency and the cap. So where today stings a little bit, and for us here in Western New York, I'm watching the Niners yesterday. And I'm like, I didn't feel any different than the Bills lost to Kansas City. Honestly.
Yeah, I was mentally telling myself all day to be disappointed. I picked the Niners. I invested in the Niners. I thought the Niners. Foolishly, I thought the Niners could pull it off. But as we know, with the Chiefs, you have to play a near perfect game to get over on them. And there's just a couple of miscues where I think to myself, if it had gone the Niners' way, maybe that's enough. Maybe you have it there where you can get over on the Chiefs. But they're maddening because when you see them win and win the way that they won, it's hard to imagine that they can't do it again next year, that the Chiefs wouldn't be considered the favorite out of the AFC. Who's beating them? Who's beating them? They're going to win their third straight. Who's beating them? I mean, a lot can change between now and the start of the season for sure. But and a lot of this is still kind of raw emotion from them winning the way that they won last night. But when you watch that game, and you see the players making plays, the playmakers making plays, whether you're talking about the defensive line, the offensive line, the skill position players, you start to see deficiencies in your own teams, right? You look at what a player like Chris Jones means to that defensive line, and then you evaluate that. You put that next to whoever your defensive tackle might be, and you say, you know what? No, it's not even close. That guy is special. That's a different breed of cat. When you see McCaffrey, albeit with the fumble, when you see McCaffrey play the way he plays, like that's a special back. That's a special kind of running back. And the biggest player and the best on the field is still Patrick Mahomes. To see him do what he does, how he does it. And it wasn't his best game. He had a pick early in the second half that you never see him do. What's this? He tried to force a ball. He never does that. And he was still spectacular and MVP worthy. So
and their coach. Can we just say this? Andy Reid, like miles ahead of Shanahan. Andy Reid, miles ahead of anybody else in the AFC, including Sean McDermott at this point. So, and it took Andy Reid a little while to get there. I'm sure they weren't saying this 2 decades ago in Philadelphia, but that's also part of this. And Andy Reid wasn't perfect last night. I think that he wasted a timeout when he could have used the challenge there. So there were some flaws last night.
Kelsey doesn't believe that Andy Reid was perfect yesterday either. Which,
Wow.
by the way, I always say that the only standard that exists is a double standard, and that is on full display. Travis Kelce getting in his coach's face, screaming and in his coach's face, bumping his head coach. Now, look, you could say, well, their relationship is different or that's fine. And Andy Reid can brush it off to say, hey, I'm just glad he wants to be in the game. Imagine if that happened with a player on your favorite team.
Or, I don't know, maybe that player did it to the quarterback once upon a time in a playoff loss. Like Steph Diggs, if Steph Diggs bumped Sean McDermott, get him off the team.
Cancer. Yet, Travis Kelce gets a pass? I don't get it. I mean,
well, I get it from the standpoint of what could Andy Reid do at that point. Andy Reid has to be the Rock of Gibraltar. Things are going bad, and they just played it off afterward. Oh, nothing to see here. Yay, we won, and you kind of move on. However, that's going to entitle others at every level of football thinking that's okay to go after your head coach when it's not okay.
It wasn't cool at all.
No, and I also want to throw the flag on CBS. I thought CBS should have played that up more. Where is Evan Washburn? Tell me more about this happening. You have a star player bump Andy Reid. What if Andy Reid fell on his ass? What happens in that game?
Can we let's jot down a note? Maybe we'll see Evan Washburn at training camp again, and we can ask him, "Hey, man, you were on the sideline. What happened there? What was that about?" I doubt we'll be thinking about that come the end of July. But at the same time, it is, you're right on all those points, that if you're watching the Super Bowl, you're a young player and you're watching the Super Bowl and you see a star like Travis Kelce get in your head coach's grill, screaming at him, bumping him, you know that ain't right. You know that shouldn't fly. That can't fly. And he gets away with it. Why? Because he's the party lovable. You got to fight for your right to party. Viva Las Vegas. Taylor Swift is my girlfriend guy. That's ridiculous, man. That's a complete double standard because you're right. You mentioned Diggs. I mean, any player on any team, if they were to do that, you'd be like, whoa, what is that? That doesn't fly. You can't do that. Imagine any player on any team in the NBA, in the NHL, any sport. You don't do that. You don't do that. But Kelce gets a pass? Weird. Double standard.
Yeah. Well, he only gets a pass because they had no other alternative. What, you're going to bench Kelce for the rest of the game? You couldn't.
Maybe it's a bigger story if they lose.
Yeah.
Right? They win. So they move on, and the Chiefs have done something that hadn't been done for over 20 years. They repeat as Super Bowl champions. And again, I know it's the emotion of recency, but I have a hard time seeing how they don't win 3, how they don't win it again next year. Maybe because if Chris Jones isn't there, maybe. Mm-hmm. But why? What would make you think that? We said the same thing with Tyreek Hill left. Oh, Tyreek Hill is gone. This is it. They're vulnerable. They lost their best receiver. Please. They got it done with a bunch of slappies this year that couldn't hold on to the football, and they still won.
Me, Cole Hardman.
Hilarious.
And you're winning touchdown. Who he didn't even know the rules. It's like, wait, we won? We won?
Hilarious that a guy that couldn't cut it with the Jets won the Super Bowl and had the game-winning touchdown with the Chiefs. Hilarious. That's the NFL.
Now, I've consumed a lot of takes here and about overtime. We'll tell you who's coming up on the show here in a little bit. But here's my thoughts on overtime. You could go back and forth, right? It would have been wise for the 49ers to defer with the new overtime system or go for it. Well, if you go for it, you have to get that touchdown. And that's why as soon as 4th and 3 and you're trotting out the field goal team, it was like Tyler Bass all over again. Whether Bass made or missed the kick, you lost, and he missed. So same thing with San Francisco. Like, what did you think would happen after that? Your defense is tired. Kansas City wins by holding you only to 3. So to me, that was Kyle Shanahan. Hey, 4th and 3, analytics say kick the field goal. No. There's no analytics for overtime in the Super Bowl, dude. This is the first ever. You have to go for it in that situation.
I thought I saw somewhere also that he said that they received in overtime because they wanted to have the 3rd possession if it were to come to that. I'm like, I don't know that the Chiefs are going to play for a tie in that situation.
So you would think they would have gone for 2?
Here's the difference between going for it, or here's the difference between receiving in overtime with these new rules versus getting it second. There's a big difference in playing 3-down football versus 4-down football. You can play 3-down football when you receive, and that's what the Niners are doing. They didn't have that sense of urgency. They didn't have that added pressure with their first drive. If they kick a field goal, they kick a field goal, and you assume all the pressure is on Kansas City. Except the thing with Kansas City is they're playing 4-down football, and there is no tomorrow, and they're not considering a punt. They're going for it no matter what. And your defense has to respond, and they couldn't do it. Couldn't do it, and you can't do it because it's Patrick Mahomes, and he's the best. He's going to go down as the best. Love him, hate him, whatever. I didn't like how he handled himself after they lost to the Bills during the regular season, but hard not to like everything that he's saying now and everything that he's done now. He just keeps winning. He's impossible. He was great again last night, even with the interception. Like, he's MVP worthy.
Yeah, and the frustrating part, Danger, is if the Bills had done their part in the divisional round. Now, how this story may go out, I'm looking at the physicality of San Francisco on that defensive line. I don't know how that would have matched up.
No. When you watch when you watch these two teams last night, you see players that look and play differently than what you're used to. Last week, I mentioned this about the Sabres. And I swear, we're not going to talk about the Sabres.
Who is this team you're talking about?
Last week I said if you're consuming a steady diet of Sabres hockey, it should come with a disclaimer because it's not the same brand of hockey that you see when you watch two competitive teams in the NHL. I watched the Devils and the Flames late last week, and I was blown away. It was like, wow, this is entertaining, fun, breakneck speed, physical. It was great. It's just completely the opposite of the uninspired product that is being pushed out by the Sabres. If you watched those two teams last night, it's a Super Bowl, the two best teams in the league, but you see little pockets in players where you're like, your team doesn't have a Trent Williams. Now, Trent Williams had a couple of bad penalties, but when you watch him play, you're like, that's a Hall of Fame caliber player. Your team doesn't have that guy. You don't have a Chris Jones, as I mentioned. You don't have a secondary that can make plays like McDuffie and Snead made. Travis Kelce is the best. You don't have that on your team. Maybe you will someday, but you don't have it now. So you can't compete. You can't compete. All you can do is you hope that you get better. Or you draft guys that you know physically are going to stack up against who you're going up. So physically, and I'll just use the Jones comparison here, because Chris Jones physically looks unlike anything that the Bills have on their defensive line. And Ed Oliver had a great season, and everybody can talk about what a great, but he disappeared against the Chiefs. He was nowhere to be found. He was erased by the Chiefs. And the biggest reason why I could say that happened is because physically, he doesn't have that kind of size. He's not that kind of a game wrecker. It's not that he's a bad player. It's not that he can't get better or continue to improve, but physically, out of the gate, he's just not that guy. And I think you have to look around and see, is Deion Dawkins is a nice player. Really like Deion Dawkins. Left side, great Buffalo Bill. He's not Trent Williams. He's not going to be Trent Williams because physically, he doesn't have that kind of build. He's just not that guy. You could do that position by position.
Yeah, Terrell Bernard, nice player. He's not Warner. Warner is a beast.
Nobody's Dre Greenlaw. Nobody wants to be Dre Greenlaw.
Oh, man.
Brutal loss. we I always talk about when you see, sometimes you see a play happen in the course of the game. In the NFC Championship game, it was the Ayuk, right? The touchdown pass to, not the touchdown pass, but the reception by Ayuk that bounced off the face mask of the Lions defender. And I think to myself, when a play like that happens, you just know it's not your night. Like, maybe this isn't your night if you're a Lions fan. Did you feel that if you were a Niners fan and Dre Greenlaw, one of your best players on defense, pops his Achilles just trying to get back on the field? Not even in a game. Like, just, was it a celebration? It was hard to tell if he was celebrating or if he was just kind of like jumping up and down or if he was just jogging out onto the field. But to see him collapse, you're like, oh no. Maybe it's just not your night.
Yeah, it's like in basketball, whether it's the NBA or college basketball danger, when you're at the half and let's say you're up by 5 points, but your opponent shooting only 34% from the floor, you're done. And that's the way I felt last night, where, wait a second, hey, we're up. We feel pretty good. Yeah. No, this is not even close. You knew the Chiefs were going to come back and take care of business. And then you brought this up to me. I'm going to steal your point here. Like, I'll just bring your point to light. Why are we looking past the missed extra point there?
Oh, it's huge. Huge. I think when I think about the Niners game and the mistakes that were made, you could certainly say the McCaffrey fumble early cost them, right? That drive was going well and it probably was going to lead to points. But that missed extra point, man, that kind of changed how the Niners or the Chiefs had to approach the rest of the game. It took a little bit of pressure off of them. They didn't have to score a touchdown. They just needed a field goal. It's a small kind of insignificant play that last night I think was the biggest play that the Niners didn't make. The Chiefs I was joking when I said special teams should just be eliminated from the NFL. I hope you understand that special teams matter. Like the Chiefs special teams unit outplayed the Niners special teams unit. And what's the difference in the game between that, the punt that glanced off the Niners defender that Ray didn't jump on? He just tried to pick up and run. Like these are little errors that the Niners special teams unit committed that ended up costing you. And I can't think of any other real plays in that game for the Niners. It's like, oh, that play cost you. But the missed extra point to me felt like when they missed that, I'm like, oh boy.
Yeah, that's 3 mistakes to 1. The Mahomes interception being the one, but the muff punt and also the McCaffrey fumble.
Yeah. And look, Pacheco had a fumble in the red zone, which led to the Kelsey blow up as well. So I mean,
that's true.
There were errors on both sides of the ball, but if I'm going to pinpoint one specific play that I feel might have cost the Niners that game, to me, it's that missed extra point. It's that missed extra point because that's an automatic. You need to get that, and it changes the way the Chiefs approach the rest of that game, and they did everything that they needed to do. And they know, hey, if this goes to overtime, we're winning this game. We're winning this game with Pat Mahomes over Brock Purdy. And you can't fault Brock Purdy. Like, that was the other takeaway for the game for me from the Niners. Like, you have your guy. Brock Purdy didn't lose you that game. Brock Purdy was poised, calm, collected. He made plays with his legs when he needed to. Delivered the ball with accuracy, found the right guy most of the time. Like, Purdy had a nice game. So all I can do is point to that one play, the missed extra point, and be like, maybe that's the difference. Maybe that's the play that turned this game in favor of the Chiefs, that you had it until then. And, I joke about special teams being meaningless. There wasn't a single kickoff return in yesterday's game. Not one. But those plays, that blocked extra point, that did have an outcome on the game.
Maybe we can just get rid of the kickoff. What do you think there? At this point, what are we doing?
Get rid of kickers and punters as far as I'm concerned. I'm kind of over most of special teams. We have a great show lined up for you. And
all right.
Gene.
My bad, because I was texting with him Friday, thanking him for coming on the show. Thinking... silly me that we could have him on today.
No.
To take his medicine.
No. We needed to make that call today, not Friday. We needed to make that call today. I didn't sign off on this, and I know who is it that was sending us a tweet from Friday. we had him on Friday because look, we wouldn't be doing our job if we didn't get you a complete and comprehensive preview of the Super Bowl. So we go to our guy in Kansas City from our Odyssey Sports sister station, 610 Sports in Kansas City. That's Jay Binkley. You've heard him on the Sports Bar. He's become kind of like the Sports Bar nemesis. But he's not a bad guy. He's a lovable guy. But he's kind of really full of the Kansas City Chiefs. He's very full of himself with the Chiefs.
Todd writing into us. Fan Rochester, please don't invite Jay Binkley back on the show. He represents the arrogance that the Chiefs kingdom has become. The thing that got to me when we were talking Friday was just this disrespect, narrative that Jay is trying to cook up. Who?
Nobody's disrespecting them. Yeah. Nobody is disrespecting them. That's manufactured. I think that's a Kelsey thing. I think Jason Kelsey did it in Philadelphia the year that they won the Super Bowl. And I think Travis Kelsey's doing like, oh, you all think we can't do it. Nobody respects us. Nobody likes us. We don't care. I don't know that people are not, that people don't like the Kansas City Chiefs. I think we're tired of the Kansas City Chiefs, but you can't not respect what they're doing. That's silly. He's coming in, isn't he?
Yeah. Or you could always cancel.
All right, so here's the thing. I don't think we should mention what time he's coming in because I want to keep people listening to the Sports Bar. So if I make an appointment with you right now and say he's coming in at 4:25, that gives you license to not listen at 4:25. So I don't want to say 4:25 for Jay Binkley.
Listen, I'm going to hold him in check. I want to humble Binkley.
How are we doing that?
Well, just see if or is he going to come in bloviating in Buffalo?
Course.
Thank you for Patrick Mahomes.
Of course. We're at a stage where, and I said it earlier, I don't know that anybody beats them. Who's stepping up? Who in the AFC is stepping up to beat that squad?
Well, step one, and this is the way I look at it for the Bills. Like, who's going to challenge the Bills for the division? It's not the Jets. It's not New England. Maybe Miami. Who's challenging Kansas City for that division? No, I'm sorry. Like the Chargers, maybe some point for Harbaugh. Not next year. Sorry, they got cap problems. Point is, they're going to have a home game. They're going to have a pathway to get to the AFC Championship game. Wow, it's going to be really tough there. Win 1 or 2 games and you're back in the AFC Championship game. Mm-hmm. This reminds me of New England all over again.
Mm-hmm. It's just not as close to home, but it's equally as annoying. It is annoying. And I think we're a little fatigued. I think we're just fatigued on the Chiefs, as in general. With his thoughts on last night's game and looking ahead to the Bills offseason, we'll be joined next by 13WAM sports director and BuffaloPlus.com's Mike Catalana.
Yeah, so we'll get Mike's thoughts here about what you saw in Kansas City, and also kind of get his thoughts here on the Bills in the offseason, because, again, when you watch that divisional loss to Kansas City, it's like the Bills are not that far off, unless, like, what is it actually going to take to get by this team? Do you build a Bills roster just to beat Kansas City?
I think that's what they've been trying to do. I really do. Like, I believe that's what they've been trying to do, and that's what every team in the AFC should be trying to do, but you're just not there. I mean, there's some special players on that roster. Maybe some of those special players aren't on that roster next year. But, man, everybody in the AFC has their work cut out for them if you're going to try and get past that team. We'll be joined next by 13WAM sports director and BuffaloPlus.com's Mike Catalana. You can join us at 866-4FAN, 585-866-4326.
You're listening to The Sports Bar with Danger and Battaglia on 95.7 FM and AM 950, The Fan, Rochester.
Odyssey has sports for every fan. Keep up with your favorite teams from across the country and get the inside scoop from experts. AUDACY. Odyssey.
Paul Davis Restoration has been restoring residential and commercial properties damaged by fire, water, mold, storms, and other disasters for more than 55 years. Paul Davis Restoration has been there through it all. No matter what the disaster, Paul Davis Restoration is always there to help get everything restored back to normal and fast. We set the gold standard for service. We are Paul Davis. Visit pauldavis.com today. Paul Davis Restoration, the difference makers.
Start the season like a pro with huge savings on the John Deere equipment you need. Get financing for up to 84 months on the light compact utility tractor, or up to $3,000 in cash savings on select models. Stop in your local Land Pro or build your own at landproequipment.com.
Batavia Downs is proud to announce the return of their Brewfest on Saturday, February 17th. Presented by Genesee Brewery and Rohrbach Brewing Company. Be sure to get your tickets and sample from various local breweries. Tickets are just $30 and includes $15 of free play, a sampling cup, and hors d'oeuvres. Hotel packages available too. Head to BataviaConcerts.com for tickets and info. That's the Batavia Downs Brewfest on Saturday, February 17th.
The Ide family of dealerships is locally owned, and when you do business with us, you're also supporting the hundreds of local organizations that we're part of. So when you're in the market, visit us at Ide Honda or Ide Volkswagen. We're here, we're local, and we'd love to earn your business.
Golisano Institute for Business and Entrepreneurship is business education as it should be. Earn a professional certificate in business and entrepreneurship in just 2 years and open up a world of opportunities, not a world of debt. Whether you want to land a high-quality job, start a business, or continue on to a bachelor's degree, we'll get you there for just $8,900 a year. Apply today. Now enrolling for February at golisanoinstitute.org.
If you're looking for the most epic place on Earth, let's start at the base of a massive waterfall. Then trek through the thick jungle. Then climb to the peak of a snowy mountaintop. Then once you get there, keep going. Because with intelligent 4x4 and 7 drive modes and a Nissan Pathfinder, the search is the real adventure.
Available feature. Intelligent 4x4 cannot prevent collisions or provide enhanced traction in all conditions. Always monitor traffic and weather conditions.
For the ones who work hard to ensure their crew can always go the extra mile, and the ones who get in early so everyone can go home on time. There's Grainger, offering professional-grade supplies backed by product experts so you can quickly and easily find what you need. Plus, you can count on access to a committed team ready to go the extra mile for you. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Right now at Macy's, find great Valentine's Day gift ideas like fragrance gift sets from Yves Saint Laurent, Armani, Carolina Herrera, and more. Plus, take an extra 20% off with your coupon or Macy's card on top of 35 to 60% off fine jewelry she'll love and 25% off chocolate from Godiva. And get your Valentine's gifts even faster when you pick up in-store or curbside now at Macy's. Savings off sale and clearance prices. Exclusions apply.
No one talks more about local sports than the Fan Rochester. That's because we're the only sports station with hosts who actually live here. 95.7 and AM 950. The Fan Rochester.
For over 50 years, Heritage Jewelers has been a place where love is celebrated every day. And Valentine's Day is all about celebrating love. I'm Alec Iovino. From classic jewelry to trendy styles, or an engagement ring that begins a lifelong celebration, we're making shopping this Valentine's Day simple and affordable with gifts from $125. Gifts for family or jewelry that celebrates an event. Exceptional quality, value, and style. This is our heritage. Let us be a part of yours. Heritage Jewelers at the corner of Ridge and Long Pond Road in Greece.
The Fan Rochester Sports Update.
For the first time in 19 years, we have a repeat champion in the NFL as the Chiefs take out the Niners in overtime. Andy Reid on being confronted by Travis Kelce.
He caught me off balance. I wasn't watching. Cheap shot, but that's all right. He did good. He was really coming over, just put me in, I'll score, so that's really what it was. Well, I love that. I mean, it's not the first time, so I appreciate him.
We'll get the thoughts of 13 Wham's Mike Catalana joining us next here in the Sports Bar. DJ Mangus is the latest addition to the Buffalo Bills coaching staff. He's an offensive quality control coach. He's a former wide receiver at William & Mary. From Sabres practice today, Owen Power injured. He was to undergo imaging this afternoon. Sabres home against the Kings tomorrow night. Gene Battaglia in the Sports Leader, the Fan Rochester.
They've raised the bar on Rochester Sports Talk. You're in the Sports Bar with Danger and Battaglia on the Sports Leader, 95.7 FM and AM 950 The Fan, Rochester.
I mean, I'm sick to my stomach. I'm still sick. I see him at halftime and I'm crying because I'm so hurt for him and obviously wanted to win this for him, and it's sickening. Of course, yeah, I saw him halftime, saw him obviously towards the end of the game when he was out there on the sideline, and horrible. I mean, he's just been dealing with that same Achilles injury for the last few weeks, and so, we ran out on the field together, and I see him drop down, and I knew exactly what happened.
That's Niners linebacker Fred Warner on his teammate Dre Greenlaw, not able to finish popping his Achilles as they're trying to get back on the field. Didn't even happen in game action. Definitely heartbreaking, and just one of the memorable moments from last night's Super Bowl in Las Vegas. To talk about that, look ahead to the Bills offseason, we welcome in 13 Wham Sports Director, BuffaloPlus.com, and Rochester sports icon Mike Catalana here in the Sports Bar. Icon, good to have you on with us. I mean, we kind of evaluate the game last night. I think about the way Kansas City won, and it wasn't unlike what we've seen them do to the Bills multiple times. It feels to me like they could do it again next year, and I know that part of that is the emotion of just watching them do it last night. A lot can change between now and the start of the season, but they just play a different brand of football, don't they?
Well, I think they play with a level of confidence that it's hard for almost any other team to have. And I think it's built upon itself because they've won and they've had that success. I mean, look at their playoff wins. They're not they're not a dominant team in a sense of like they're just blowing people out. They're running over them. I mean, they're winning by double digits all the time. And they get in these games. Look at it. This one ends, in overtime. Look at the game, even the game with the Ravens. The Ravens had great opportunities to get back in that game. I think that ended up being 7 points. You have the Miami win. And look at last year. They beat the Eagles at the end of the game with a field goal. They beat the Bengals in a tight game. It's like, this is what they do. So when I say they play with this confidence, it's like they expect to do it. And the reason I say that, it's certainly easy to say you expect them to win because we've seen them do it. It's like the old Patriots. But you just have to believe that it's possible. It's not like they're so dominant that somebody can't beat them. It's just that they have that sense and that feeling, and they have Mahomes, and they'll figure it out. And that's why it's so frustrating to the Niners and the Ravens and the Eagles and certainly the Bills that they can't knock them off.
So from the Niners standpoint, I feel for their fans today. Do you second guess anything, Mike? And if so, what would it be? Would it be, they veered away from the run there in the middle of the game? Certainly the decision in overtime to receive, maybe the decision to kick the field goal on 4th and 3.
All right. Well, first of all, I think Shanahan's a brilliant play caller. I don't think he's a good game coach at all. I've seen him, and you guys have seen him. He makes a lot of mistakes. And he doesn't operate the clock very well. I think he's obsessed with the play calling, and I think it impacts him. And I just never feel right in that case. First of all, even in the play calling, I don't know why you want the ball in Purdy's hands more than in McCaffrey's. I don't get it. McCaffrey was a beast in the game. And I think certainly I think the Chiefs were pretty happy the less he was running the ball in the second half. Now, I'll say this. I think you have to kick the field goal there once you're in that spot. I can get the idea of you going for the touchdown, but it'd be tough to get nothing there and then them drive down for a field goal to beat you, and I get it, you'd have them down deep. But come on. It's bad enough that they took the ball to start the overtime. But the fact that you have a host of players on the Niners saying they didn't even know the rule, they hadn't discussed it, there wasn't a plan. Then you hear Andy, and the players are like, hey, we've been talking about this. We had a plan. Like, we're going to kick the ball to them if we win it, and then if we score a touchdown to tie it or to be down 1, we're going to go for 2. Like, they had that part figured out. So give Andy credit, but it makes Shanahan look really bad in terms of planning for the game.
So, Mike, knowing that this was the first time that we saw this, this is the Buffalo Bills overtime rule. This is the first time we saw it in the postseason. Do you have a stance one way or the other as to what a team should do to get the desired outcome? Should the Niners have deferred, or are they better off playing 3-down football and forcing the opponent to play 4-down football if you score with that first possession?
Look, I do think it has to factor in who you're playing. If you're playing Brady in his prime, you're playing Mahomes, like you almost got to think that we may get the one shot to do it because of the way these guys are. If you were playing Josh Allen, you'd probably think that way. But think of it this way. I think Andy Reid's got the right plan where you kick off. If you lose you kick off to start. And then if they score a touchdown, you're going for 2 because your advantage is gone. Like, so people would understand if, say, San Francisco would have scored a touchdown and Kansas City went down and scored a touchdown and kicked the extra point. Now it's sudden death and you're kicking off again. And so it's a big advantage then to the third team. And I think maybe that's what Shanahan was thinking.
Yes.
The idea both teams could score and then you get that chance. And look, they could have won the game by stopping them. They could have won the game even if they had scored a touchdown by stopping them or stopping a 2-point conversion. Like, there is ways to win. But I just look at it and say, what a difference it is when you're driving. Yes, there's pressure, obviously, on Mahomes. But they know it's 4 downs. You know how tough it is to stop a guy like Mahomes for 4 downs? It's hard enough on 3, let alone 4. So, no, I think that's the right strategy. I think in those circumstances, we get past the point of you can always second guess. But to me, I think that would be almost become the standard of teams saying, we want the ball second. So we know what we're facing when we get the football back and get our chance.
Buffalo Plus 13 Wham. Mike Catalana joining us here in the Sports Bar. Mike, as far as what you saw between Travis Kelce and Andy Reid, I think Andy Reid deserves a lot of credit there for what are his choices there? Bench him for the rest of the game, take him away for a few series, or just, hey, nothing to see here, let's kind of move on here. But I just think that, the idea that, this happens all the time, I don't think that happens all the time, at least not on the sidelines.
No, but also it's Travis Kelce, who's been with him 12 years. It's not just, people try to compare it to other circumstances. He appears to have a great relationship with Kelce. Kelce's been an incredible player for them. We can, there's a lot of people that, listen, I'm not a Kelce, I'm sick of him like everybody else is, right? He's a great player, but he's never really done, he's cocky, he's this, he's that, but he's never really done anything like that. And Reed handled it exactly the way I would expect Andy Reid to handle it. I'm not saying it's nothing. I don't think you want to see that, but no, 0.0 chance he's benching Travis Kelce in the Super Bowl over that. It definitely caught Reid off guard. You could see he was in his play sheet. It was stupid by Kelce. He's losing his mind out of frustration. That's your head coach, and he knows he's wrong. And my assumption is there's conversations there. But in the heat of the moment, he's not. What do you think his teammates would be saying if you're benching Kelce in those circumstances? Right. So, listen, Andy Reid, he's had some questionable guys play for his team. He's looked past a lot of stuff. I think in that case, he's just going to go. And again, people say you treat some people differently. If it was Kadarius Toney on the sidelines, I think he would have sat him down. But it's not. It's Travis Kelce. So I'm not saying it's nothing, and it's a bad look, and Kelce should publicly apologize, or at least in front of the team, because it was bad. But Kelce was going to play.
Mike, was there a play in the game that you felt maybe tilted it in Kansas City's favor? Because it looked like the Niners had control for a good chunk of the game. You had a Patrick Mahomes turnover early in the second half, which never happens. I submit that the missed extra point was the play that shifted everything in Kansas City's favor.
Well, that from an emotional standpoint, too, because they score. It's a good drive. That was the best moment for the Niners offense, certainly in the game. And then they miss the extra point. And now it's a 3-point game, and I do think it helped them. Now, I saw some people going back and forth on this. Listen, if it was a 4-point game, well, then Kansas City goes for it the next time down. So the game changes there. If they were down by 4, they went down pretty far, and then they ended up kicking the field goal to tie it. So it was different. Obviously, the punt that hit the guy's leg and then it ended up being our guy Ray ends up not diving on the ball. Yeah. Obviously, that was huge because it certainly woke up the Chiefs and helped their offense that wasn't doing much. But I got to tell you guys, I was thinking of this in terms of an ending of a game. Tied, go to overtime, all that stuff is great in theory. There isn't one play from that game that I found to be truly memorable. And I'm not talking about memorable today. I'm talking about a year from now, 2 years from now, 5 years from now. The only thing you'll remember from that game is that Mahomes threw a touchdown in overtime and they won back-to-back. Can you think of one play where if somebody didn't see the game, you're like,
the Jennings play.
See this.
The Jennings play was nice. The backwards pass to Jennings and Jennings hitting McCaffrey.
I thought it was a very fortunate balloon pass that he threw, and with a little bit of luck, that could have been going 85 yards the other way.
Sure.
That was fine, but that was early in the game, second quarter. Like, this is a Super Bowl here. I thought the game it wasn't a dud. It wasn't bad. But some of this talk of people is like all time. I don't think it doesn't make my top 10 of games Super Bowl. Maybe even more. Like the memorable thing from this game is Mahomes. It just is. It's Mahomes' game-winning drive. Just the way he is incredible. And he's our Brady now, guys. He is that guy. And when it's close, he's going to find a way.
Yeah, I'm just trying to think how the Bills get past this team. And I guess step one is, all right, who from the AFC West is ready to challenge the Chiefs, Mike? Yeah. And I think the Chiefs are penciled in for at least one home game next year.
Yeah, look, they won 11 games this year in a lousy division. Like, they did sort of cruise through the season. And, you think the Chargers will be better because they'll actually have a coach this year. And they maybe can get some stuff going. But listen, look at all these teams. Like I said, they've done this. They did it to the Niners. They did it to the Ravens. They did it to the Bills. They did it to the Eagles. They did it to the Bengals. They're all close. Everybody's close, and they can't get by them. It's not like they're winning by 40 here. They're incredibly well coached and all those things, but the games are tight, and they're close. And Mahomes is great. But he ain't winning these games without that defense either. This is not Mahomes running around making 40 plays a game. I'm not saying he's a game manager. He's more than that. But he does manage the game really well because that's the type of team he has. And we'll see what they do in the offseason. How do the Bills do it? Well, they start out by having the second best quarterback in the league. So that helps you. Get him some more weapons. When you're up 10, go 17. That's what's happened to these teams. They get up on them, and then they let them stay in it, do something dumb, and the next thing you know, it's that kind of game. So look on the bright side. As frustrating as it's been for Bills fans to be so close against the Chiefs, you have been so close against the Chiefs. Better to be that way than sitting there with no quarterback and no idea what you're going to do and thinking, how are we ever going to compete with these guys?
Sure, and I'll hear you. The quarterback gives you hope, but when you watch both of those teams last night, you see players on both sides of the ball in the trenches, guys that you just don't see on the Bills roster. I mean, Ed Oliver had a great season, and we rave about what Ed Oliver was. Ed Oliver physically just can't compete with a guy like Chris Jones when you compare the player next to the player. That Trent Williams is a stratosphere, in a different stratosphere in terms of left tackles, and Deion Dawkins is nice, but he's not that. And in the moment when you needed him the most, you have Chris Jones pushing him back into Josh Allen. So I guess if they're close, Mike, you know, we're going to have this debate throughout the course of the offseason as we had to get up to the draft. I mean, should the Bills be focusing on those skill position players for Josh Allen, or should they be looking for the physical freaks that exist in the draft that could become potentially the next Chris Jones? We don't have a Snead or a McDuffie in the secondary. Where are those players, and how can the Bills accumulate some of that kind of talent to compete with the Chiefs better?
Well, you're going to have to draft, and you're going to have to bring those players in. I mean, that's what the Chiefs did. And look, you are picking like two of the best players in the NFL in those guys with Trent Williams and Chris Jones, who may very well be gone. I don't know if they're going to franchise him. I know Snead's, I think, a free agent. I'm not mistaken. I think he's a free agent at the end of the year. Maybe I'm wrong about Snead. But yeah, they have talent. Hey, look. Again, the Niners are good. They're going to lose a bunch of guys, too. They spent a ton of money on that D-line. They went out and traded for people. They built it up. And they have Brock Purdy as their quarterback, and the Bills have Josh Allen. And I'm just saying to you this, it's almost like we sit there and see Allen, and we just, I'm not saying take it for granted, but go, you do need those other guys. But it's a nice place to start. It's what they're thinking in Cincy because they have Burrow, and it's what they're thinking in Buffalo. And it's hard to find those guys. It's hard to do that. They need to revamp the roster again. There's no question. There's new guys that need to come in, but it's possible. And what I tell everybody, you know, when you hear McDermott talk about defense and the ability to run the ball, watch the games. So I said, watch the games. What are we saying about the Niners? They should have run it more. Kansas City isn't a running, quote, team, but they can run it. Like the game is evolving a little bit. It's these defenses that teams are playing with, you know, basically a lot of cover two, deep coverages and all, have taken away some of the flash of the games. What you need is, you mentioned that. I think it's trenches is one thing with Kansas City. I think they have versatile, talented, athletic people in that secondary, and they use them very well. I think that's really what you need. I think that's what they need on the defensive side. Yeah, it's great to get the guys in the trenches, and they're hard to find, but, man, they use those safeties and corners as pass rushers at times. Like McDuffie is so good at it that I think that's a huge difference maker for them.
Mike Catalana, our guest. By the way, Snead is a free agent, Mike. Fourth-round pick, and he's going to cash in, whether that's Kansas City or somewhere else. Since we last spoke, Mike, new quarterback coach in Buffalo. What are your thoughts about going a little outside the realm for Josh Allen and bringing in Ronald Curry?
Yeah, I mean, I know he has some connection with Brady. They coached together for a short period of time. I don't mind it. You know, I hear people sometimes will say to me, just like Josh Allen, who's the quarterback coach, Josh Allen needs coaching. Like all these guys need coaching. And it's not just coaching like you're fixing his mechanics all the time, but they do work on stuff like that. It's another voice in his ear, I think, sometimes that can be a plus. I don't know anything about Ronald Curry as a coach. I know he was a hell of an athlete, and a great basketball player and football player, and so that doesn't really do much in terms of walking in as the quarterback's coach. But I like the fact that they've gone outside the building a little bit. On the other side, in a lot of other places, they've elevated from within. So I think it's an interesting way to fill your coaching staff, because you're keeping Brady there, but then you're bringing somebody in from the outside. So I think it's going to be really interesting on how that offense looks in the offseason. Whereas I think Babbage moving up on the defensive side keeps things maybe a little bit more the same. But I think Brady I do think, and Alan alluded to this, may put his own spin on it a little bit more with the offense in this offseason. So we'll see what having a full offseason can do for them on that side, and what Curry can do for Josh Allen as quarterback's coach.
Were you surprised that it was Bobby Babbage getting promoted from within, not an Eric Washington who goes to be a DC in Chicago or anybody else? Because we saw some shakeup and some fallout from that Babbage announcement here in the last couple of days.
Yeah, no, not at all. I mean, I think if you ask most of the people who covered the team, and are up there, Babbage I think they've looked at him as a rising star. He's tied to McDermott pretty tightly, and I think he trusts him a lot. And I don't know if John Butler thought he was the guy that was next in line.
Right.
It maybe appears that way, but it's just like in a lot of other professions. Babbage got interest from other places, and that probably didn't hurt his cause. But I know they've spoken very highly of him. God, listen to Poyer and Hyde talk about him when he coached in the secondary, and look what he ended up doing with the linebackers. I mean, look at the progress that they've made there with Milano being out. So now I really wasn't surprised. I thought that it would push things once the interest came from the Dolphins and the Packers and the Giants, that it may move it. Now, maybe the plan was to keep McDermott calling plays, and I believe they're going to turn it over to Babbage, at least in some form, because you got all off season to plan for this. But we probably won't know that if we do it all until we talk to those guys at the Combine in a few weeks. But no, not really. And Eric Washington looks like, good coach, good guy, all those things. But I think obviously he saw the writing on the wall too, and ended up going with what would be, I think, considered not a lateral move, but close to a lateral move, because he was he had the non-play calling, not defensive coordinator, but he sort of assumed some of that public role. He was the guy that we interviewed every week when we interviewed the coordinators.
Yeah. So, Indy, do you get a couple weeks off here from the NFL, Mike? At least you'd think so.
Yeah.
Right. So you're heading to Indy.
Yeah, I think it's always. I mean, we enjoy it. You see everybody from the league. We get an idea of some of the players from the draft. It's going to be an interesting year for Bean and what he decides to do. I think they're using those draft picks. I mean, you guys said it. I mean, they need to find some studs in this draft. They need to find some guys who can come in and contribute. And they've got some extra picks. They got picks this year, so we'll see how it ends up going. But I think we know where they should be looking. Weapon for Allen, at least one, and certainly guys to replenish that D line. And, you're always looking for offensive line help.
13 Wham sports director and BuffaloPlus.com's Mike Catalana. Good with this time. And then we got Indy on the horizon. Mike, what are you guys working on here in the immediate future of BuffaloPlus.com that we can check out?
In fact, we're going to sit down in a few minutes to record our podcast. We're sort of putting a bow on the end of the season as with the Super Bowl being over, with some of the things from the season, good, bad, and pushing ahead to the off season to next year, position group wise. So have a little, I'll say, fun with that, because I do think there's things that are interesting to talk about position wise and what they need. How many of these free agents that they have now could be coming back, because I think it's a transition year for the roster. It just depends on how big of a transition, how many of those guys are gone, how much younger this roster could very well be next year. So, we're going to be recording that in a few minutes and probably have it out either later tonight or first thing tomorrow.
Mike, the Saturday, it felt like spring. You starting to feel a little baseball season here coming up here?
Yeah. Do you still get excited about baseball?
You should see this guy.
Oh, no.
What, you don't?
Yeah, I have a reason to get excited. My team, goes in the playoffs and has a shot, been in the World Series, could have been in another one. What do you get excited about?
The projections have the Mets here competing for the third wild card here, Mike. So,
whoa, really?
Yeah. So anything can happen. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
And you get your guy back, right? He's back. Tommy Trumpet is coming back. Timmy
that's
Trumpet.
Great. Until when? When does that end?
When does it end? Does it ever end?
Why don't they the trumpet should just be taps, right? Shouldn't it just be taps?
Make the call to the bullpen and play taps.
Oh, my God.
Mike, it's good to have you on with us, man. Enjoy the rest of your week, and appreciate the time, as always.
Anytime, fellas.
Thank you, Mike. I'm having trouble breathing here. I don't know. Getting choked up.
I got a clean bill of health today. I don't know what's going on over there.
Oh, that's right.
I know.
The day after the Super Bowl,
some of the regulars are curious. How did the physical go when you scheduled the physical the day after the Super Bowl? I mean, I don't know that I want to share all of the intimate details, but there was something that was missing from my physical today that I can talk about.
You just leave it right there. And
Yeah.
then,
Yeah. I'll drink to that coming up next in the sports bar. Some takes on tap.
So what can we learn from Kansas City that we already didn't know in terms of constructing the Buffalo Bills? And honestly, this changes my thought here as far as free agency and the draft. And then something funny here, Danger. You got $250? You want to go hang out with Jim Boeheim?
I can find $250, yes.
All right.
Do I want to hang out with Jim Boeheim? Not really, not in particular.
Okay, some people might.
Maybe. I'm not going to judge. I've heard a lot of complaining about what we saw last night, the game that we watched last night. And maybe we've run out of problems, but I just wanted to kind of force a reminder on people when it comes to what the Super Bowl game itself actually has been like here in more recent years. And it was something that I brought up last week. And considering what has happened with the Niners, the fact that now they've made it to these three Super Bowls, two of them with Shanahan, and they can't get over. I don't know if I want to call Shanahan a choke artist. That feels very blunt, kind of mean. Mm-hmm. But you have to consider it when you look at his resume now, whether he was the OC in Atlanta and part of that 28-3 debacle that got the Patriots another ring, or these two losses against the Chiefs on the biggest stage. You just heard Catalana say, hey, look, he's a great play caller, but he's terrible at managing the game. He sounds an awful lot like what Andy Reid was when Andy Reid was in Philadelphia. So I guess I'll ask the question again. If what would be, where will the first championship for Shanahan happen? Everything that we know about it. Will it be with the Niners, or will it be with another team? We can discuss that here with I'll Drink to That. It's coming up next. Your phone calls as well at 866-4326 if you want to join us. 585-866-4FAN as Gino catches his breath.
You're listening to the Sports Bar with Danger and Battaglia on 95.7 FM and AM 950, The Fan, Rochester.
Get buckets with your first bet on FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Mike Danger for FanDuel Sportsbook, the official partner of 95.7 The Fan. Right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets with any winning $5 bet. That's $150 if your bet wins. And you can bet on all your favorite NBA players and teams with quick bets, live same-game parlays, exclusive player props, and more. Just visit FanDuel.com/Mike to shoot your shot. FanDuel.com/Mike, M-I-K-E. FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NBA. 21 plus and physically present in New York. First online real money wager only. $10 first deposit required. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets that expire 7 days after receipt. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. For help with a gambling problem, call 1-877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369.
Odyssey has sports for every fan. Keep up with your favorite teams from across the country and get the inside scoop from experts. AUDACY. Odyssey.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today?
I got to change the oil in my car.
Right now, get 5 quarts of Pennzoil Platinum Full Synthetic with an STP Extended Life Oil Filter for only $36.99.
Get in the zone.
What do I do with my old oil?
We can recycle your used oil for free.
Get in the zone.
And do you have oil for my old work truck?
You can find the right high mileage oil to help it go farther right here at AutoZone.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Restrictions apply.
Hey everyone, it's Joe Montana. Spreading the word about pneumococcal pneumonia, a potentially serious bacterial lung disease that can be life-threatening. If you're 65 or older like me, you're at increased risk. So, what's the game plan? A strong defense. Pneumococcal pneumonia can strike at any time in any season, so you shouldn't wait to help protect yourself. Talk to your doctor or pharmacist about vaccination today and learn more at knowpneumonia.com. That's KNOW pneumonia.com.
Sponsored by Pfizer.
Paid actors represent actual clients.
After my job accident, my attorneys at the Barnes firm settled my case for 11 times more than insurance said they would pay.
I'm Rich Barnes. What's your case really worth? Call our Rochester office now and find out. Past results don't predict future outcomes. Main Street, Rochester.
For over 50 years, Heritage Jewelers has been a place where love is celebrated every day. And Valentine's Day is all about celebrating love. I'm Alec Iovino. From classic jewelry to trendy styles, or an engagement ring that begins a lifelong celebration, we're making shopping this Valentine's Day simple and affordable with gifts from $125. Gifts for family or jewelry that celebrates an event. Exceptional quality, value, and style. This is our heritage. Let us be a part of yours. Heritage Jewelers at the corner of Ridge and Long Pond Road in Greece.
ABX Innovative Packaging Solutions is hiring for entry-level and experienced production workers, maintenance mechanics, and more. $1,000 sign-on bonus for all positions. Shifts available. ABX offers competitive wages, benefits, career growth, training, and a team-oriented company culture. Located on the Erie Canal in nearby Macedon, New York, join ABX and be part of the growing packaging industry. Work in a collaborative, innovative, inclusive environment where employee safety is the highest priority. Apply at abxpackaging.com. ABX is an equal opportunity employer.
Guys, a big one's coming up, and no, I'm not talking about football. I'm talking about Valentine's Day. You get the best selection when you shop local at Rockcastle Florist. Go to rockcastleflorist.com and shop Modern Love, Love and Bloom, Romantic Duet Rose Bouquets, and more. All new designs she's sure to love. Rockcastle's partnered with a New York State winery and bakery, and they deliver wine, beer, and baked goods. So go ahead, add a bottle of her favorite white or red, a cannoli cake, maybe some cupcakes, a rose bouquet with a bottle of Riesling, or her favorite from Rohrbox. Don't drop the ball. Go to rockcastleflorist.com today and place your order.
And on ball, score! Join the Rochester Nighthawks as they host Casino Night at Blue Cross Arena on Saturday, February 24th against the Las Vegas Desert Dogs. Go all in on the Hawks and visit rochesternighthawks.com/tickets.
Tell her you love her this Valentine's Day by stuffing some singles down her thong at the Tally-Ho Gentlemen's Club. Cash, the gift she's sure to love. She deserves it because she's your Valentine.
The Tally-Ho Gentlemen's Club, East Henrietta Road. What happens at the Tally-Ho stays at the Tally-Ho.
This past month brought the winter weather we're used to. Now February is here and the kids are excited. But your chance for a February break is at Vision Kia. Right now, you can lease your new 2023 Kia Forte LXS for just $299 a month for 36 months, with just $299 due at signing. Just $299 a month. Call 1-888-747-0516 for details. Take your February break. Follow your heart to Vision Kia in East Rochester or Canandaigua.
Chris Chapman's hit podcast was canceled.
As you know, my old show, The Chris Chapman Confrontation, was a victim of a little thing called cancel culture.
But he's learned, he's grown, and he's ready to win back his audience.
I'm back. Better than ever with the Chris Chapman Do-Over.
Starring Ike Barinholtz.
I have a new lady co-host on the pod.
Lisa Gilroy.
My mic is on!
And Neil Casey is the professor.
Greetings, my humans.
The new hit improv comedy, The Chris Chapman Do-Over. An Odyssey and Paper Kite production. Listen on the free Odyssey app or wherever you get your podcasts.
During Staples Sit-a-thon, you can save up to $180 on select chairs, desk chairs, computer chairs, even gaming chairs. In-store only. Offer ends 3/2. See associates for details. Stop by Staples today and grab a seat.
Odyssey has sports for every fan. Keep up with your favorite teams from across the country and get the inside scoop from experts. AUDACY. Odyssey.
Hey, Joe Montana here. Back in my football days, I knew the importance of a strong defense. Now I'm sharing how you can help defend your health against pneumococcal pneumonia, a bacterial lung disease that can be life-threatening. If you're 65 or older or 19 or older with certain chronic conditions like diabetes or asthma, you're at increased risk. Talk to your doctor or pharmacist about vaccination and learn more at knowpneumonia.com. That's KNOW pneumonia.com.
Sponsored by Pfizer.
Debbie Supplies on Commercial Street in East Rochester, right off the 490. Heating, hardware, paint, plumbing, electrical, you name it, Debbie Supply has it. Plus a friendly, knowledgeable staff that can show you how to get that home improvement project done. Since 1957. Your next home improvement project, think outside the box and head on over to Debbie Supply, Commercial Street, East Rochester.
Inside out for folks who know what they're talking about. Gotta go to Debbie. Gotta go to Debbie Supply for that.
If a part-time job that pays up to $27 an hour offers a $1,500 or $5,000 signing bonus for qualified drivers with weekends and holidays off sounds appealing to you, then you should apply now at First Student. First Student offers paid training for new bus drivers. Whether you're a retiree looking for part-time or you need to supplement your income, First Student has positions for you right now. Apply at workatfirst.com. That's workatfirst.com. First Student is an equal opportunity employer.
A first date poem by Tom Walsh team member, Dan.
She said the root beer tickled her nose. She said the Tom Walsh cheeseburger was the best she'd ever had. She was an absolute delight, right up until she declined a second date.
Tom Walsh.
At John Betlam Heating and Cooling, we're proud to treat all our customers and employees like family. That's how my grandfather did it, and it's been a tradition that's been passed down since 1941. And I'm proud that my sons Brad and Dawson and my nephews Paul and Jake are following in those footsteps alongside our entire team to uphold those values every day, to treat customers like they're part of the family. So when you need help, we promise prompt, courteous service at a fair price. And we'll do the job right, just like we would for family. That's why we're reminding you that there are 2 heating and cooling companies here in Rochester with the name Betlam, but only one is a family business. So when you search for us online, make sure you look for John Betlam. Because it's my grandfather, John Betlam, who taught us that treating people like family is just the right way to do business.
Call 271-8888. John Betlam Heating and Cooling.
No one talks more about local sports than the Fan Rochester. That's because we're the only sports station with hosts who actually live here. 95.7 and AM 950. The Fan Rochester.
WLOC AM, WBEE HD2, and W239BF Rochester. The sports leader. 95.7 FM and AM 950. The Fan Rochester.
Always live on the free Odyssey app.
The Fan Rochester Sports Update.
All hail the Chiefs. They win it in overtime over San Francisco in the Super Bowl. Niners quarterback Brock Purdy on the pain of losing the championship.
It just hurts, we have the team obviously to do it, to win the whole thing and come up short like that. The way things have been the last couple of years here, everyone wanted it so bad. So I think we're still trying to sort of gather, our thoughts and everything right now. But everyone in that locker room loves each other, I'll tell you that.
DJ Mangus, who's he? He's the latest addition to the Buffalo Bills coaching staff. Offensive quality control coach will be his title. He's a former wide receiver at William & Mary. From Sabres practice today, not good. Owen Power was injured. He was to undergo imaging this afternoon. Sabres hosting the Kings tomorrow night. Amerks in Utica coming up Wednesday. Gene Battaglin, the sports leader, 95.7 FM and AM 950. The Fan Rochester.
The Sports Bar with Danger and Battaglia.
Touchdown! Kansas City! McCole Hardman with the catch on the right side. A 3-yard touchdown pass in overtime. Kansas City wins the game 25-22. And the Chiefs Kingdom has started its own history class. Champions of Super Bowl 58. Their 3rd Super Bowl in 5 years.
They are the dynasty now of our life.
All hail the Kansas City Chiefs. All right.
People don't like winners.
Viva Las Vegas!
Mike Danger.
What about Kyle Shanahan? Where will Kyle Shanahan win his first Super Bowl? San Francisco or the field?
Gene Battaglia.
Of course the Chiefs won because of Taylor Swift. This is the way it was
fixed. Everything is fixed.
Now we have to go about 6 months without football.
No!
Your call is very important to us.
Moon River.
Yeah.
95.7 FM and AM 950 The Fan. Rochester.
I know we've got Jim in Rochester standing by at 866-432-6585-866-4FAN. But since it was just mentioned, can I just get it out of the way? The physical.
Oh, okay. How did it go?
Because Chris in South Central Kentucky, one of our regulars who reached out to us at the Fan Rochester on Elon's Twitter, on X. I hope Mike Danger went all out for his appointment today by adding a plate to the list of things consumed yesterday, making his doctor question life decisions. The truth of the matter is, yesterday, I ate too much. I drank too much. I was a walking Dave Matthews Song. The chili was fantastic. The vibes were immaculate. I smoked a pork butt all day, all morning, late in the wee hours of Sunday morning into Sunday evening. That bad boy was on that smoker for over 12 hours. It was succulent. It was delicious. So all of that being said, I don't know what got into me and why I decided that scheduling my annual physical, the day after the Super Bowl, who thought that was a good idea? But that's what occurred this morning. And to be honest with you, this is my first physical with a new primary care physician. Never met her in my life. First time meeting her. I kind of feel a little cheated. Maybe things are changing in the medical field. I didn't get the exam. The Moon River didn't happen.
It didn't happen because she knows she profiled you.
Not
I don't
true.
want to go
She
like
didn't profile me. Not true. Not true.
It's, I would just take it like when you were in school and like, oh, wait, the teacher forgot. I didn't do my homework and the teacher forgot to ask. Stop. Don't ask questions.
I feel a little cheated. I was kind of expecting it. I went in thinking that it was going to happen. Didn't happen. I'm not complaining. I'm just saying that so she avoided a catastrophe, and let's hope that I don't have a catastrophe. I think everything's going to be okay.
Yeah,
clean bill of health.
Clean bill of health is something, then maybe we look back at this day years from now, but I think you're going to be okay.
We'll just laugh it off. We'll laugh it off.
All right, so got a couple calls here.
Yeah.
866-4326. You are welcome to join us. First up, holding through the break, Jim in Rochester. Hey, Jim.
Hey, how you doing today? I'm just calling because I wanted to comment on this whole how are the Bills going to get by the Chiefs talking point. And my thought is that they're going to get, obviously they got to load up on personnel. That's always a given every year. But my opinion is they got to get rid. McDermott is not going to do it. If you're just talking about the Chiefs, how are you going to get over the Chiefs? He's just not functioning at the same level as an Andy Reid. And that might be because I know he's a disciple of Jimmy Johnson, and Jimmy Johnson coached for the Eagles, and maybe Andy Reid just knows the system too good. I know McDermott's gotten to the playoffs every year, but he's got one divisional win under his tenure, and I feel like we're kind of wasting Allen's prime years if we don't in the NFL it's more than just making the playoffs. It's about winning the Super Bowl. And if you've got a proven track record that you can't get by the divisional round because you're getting beat by the same team, then maybe it's time to really look at what's the situation. And in normal years, this wouldn't be, you got to look around the field who's out there. And I'm not a big fan of this, but at the end of the day, you got a guy like Bill Belichick out there. I mean, even if you get 2 or 3 years out of him, and you could win a Super Bowl or two, it's better than not winning anything and wasting, Josh Allen's prime years, because it took 22 years to get Josh Allen from Jim Kelly. And I hate to see this just get wasted away because we got a coach that just can't get us over the hump. And, it's kind of frustrating, but that's what I think they need to do to get by the Chiefs, is to get a new coach of a level of a Bill Belichick, and he's sitting out there. And it's kind of, and I'm not a fan of that idea of Belichick, but at the end of the day, he can win Super Bowls with an elite quarterback. Sean McDermott cannot win Super Bowls with an elite quarterback. He's proven that for 5 years in a row. Can't even get to the Super Bowl. So that's just my thoughts. Probably a lot of people probably disagree with me, but that's just where I feel. So.
No, Jim, it's all good. Appreciate the call. And
got a big smile on my face. I shouldn't have a big smile on my face, but Jim is recognizing with NFL head coaches, what I think I had to recognize with NFL head coaches, that some guys can only take you so far. And you realize over the course of time what their limitations are. And by the way, Andy Reid was one of those guys during his tenure in Philadelphia. Philadelphians got tired of Andy Reid. Hey, we're getting the same thing with this guy. Yeah, I can get us to the championship, but we can't get into the Super Bowl. Oh, we get to the Super Bowl. We can't win the Super Bowl. It wears thin. And that's why I brought up what I brought up about Shannon, because for as much deserved praise is being heaped on Andy Reid today, I want to revisit the Kyle Shanahan point that I brought up last week. Is it fair to label him a choke artist? I think it is, given his resume. He was the OC of the Falcons in the Super Bowl loss to the Pats when they were down 28-3. Not one, but now two losses to the Chiefs in the Super Bowl on the biggest stage. It's a hypothetical, but with another painful postseason loss, would you say that Shanahan gets his first championship with the Niners or with the field? I'm taking the field. Things may feel harmonious with John Lynch in that organization, but what if there's more here than meets the eye? We had Catalan on with us last hour saying, look, he might be a brilliant play caller. He's a horrible game manager. It's not like the Niners have this sterling reputation of developing their draft picks. Purdy is nice, a great story, but I'm not going to forget Solomon Thomas or Trey Lance or even Trey Sermon amongst the others that they've kind of whiffed on. The most attractive of options, even the most attractive of options, can get on your nerves over time. And I'm wondering how long before the Niners fans look at Shanahan the way Jim in Rochester looks at McDermott. He can only take us so far.
Yeah, I mean, another one Tony Dungy people bring up because the Buccaneers could never get to the Super Bowl. You clear Dungy out, you bring another guy in. Oh my gosh, we're the world champions. See, that's where some of this is rooted in. And then it doesn't mean Tony Dungy is a bad coach because he went somewhere else and won. McDermott has to grow. That's it. And for McDermott to grow, he's got to learn how to manage a game better and just get your nose out of the defensive play call. I want to see Bobby Babich take over. It's his defense now. McDermott has to see. To your point on Shanahan, he's got his face buried in the call. You're not Andy Reid, Kyle Shanahan. You're just not. So, Jim, I'm just going to follow this up. Where I made this bet with Danger about Bill Belichick being in. Under no circumstance do I want that guy, and I'm old enough to remember Super Bowl 25. It wasn't Parcells, it was Belichick. That guy who dominated this division, 17 years of non-playoff appearances because of Bill Belichick, and now you want Bill Belichick coming in?
I think what Jim is doing is he's saying, when you weigh the options, when you look at both options here, one is a proven championship caliber coach. The other one can only get you past the divisional round once in his tenure. Like, you can only go so far. You know how far Belichick can take a team with an elite quarterback, but you haven't seen Sean McDermott do that with Josh Allen. I understand what he's saying. I don't want it either, but I love that's where Jim's head is at, because you're right. The goal isn't to make the playoffs every year. You might as well, then you're Sean McSchottenheimer, right? That's all this is. You're just going to make the postseason and be satiated with that? We're going to be miserable every year at the same time every year because, here we go again. Kansas City just going to dispatch of the Bills like a bug the way they do every postseason. Oh, we beat them in the regular season. Well, we should enjoy that.
Don't get me wrong. I appreciate different viewpoints. Jim, thank you for the call. 866-4326.
I love that call, Jim.
Yeah, 866-4326. Connor from State Street joining us.
Hey, Connor.
Hey, fellas, what's up? Hey, you kind of took the words right out of my mouth there at the end, though. I wouldn't mind seeing a change from McDermott, but if we have to bring Bill Belichick in, I'd rather watch water polo. I can't stand looking at his grumpy face for another 3 years. But the reason I'm calling today is because I want to talk about GOATs. And unless Patty gets, 8 or 9 titles, I don't think he's going to be able to take Tom's spot just because Tom got him twice. And I hate Brady.
Yeah, Connor, thanks for the call there. The fact that, when we're going to have this conversation, it's always be like, well, the one in head-to-head matchup, Brady won there, and Brady did it in Tampa without anybody else. That's
fairly convincingly, too.
Yeah, right. And that's going to be always kind of where I'm going to. You want to debate LeBron or MJ? You can debate both sides of it. I don't think there's any debate. It's Tom Brady.
And by the way, this will be the only time we talk about the commercials from yesterday's.
Oh wait, no, you don't want to do like commercial talk?
We're not going to do commercial talk.
Happy hour commercial talk?
No, the Brady commercial wins, right? He was great with Vince Vaughn. You know what I'm talking about.
Here's what I got to say about the commercials. Like, is it just me, or I'm like, oh my gosh, I don't get the humor in half of these, or it's just
it's
late.
us. It's you. It's me. It's us. It's not for us anymore. Man.
No,
it's not for us anymore. You know, growing up, when you're a teenager and you're a young adult, you watch SNL and you think, wow, this is really funny. I can really get, like, you remember the characters and you look forward to Wayne's World or whatever the characters were when we were growing up. Whatever they were, I grow up now, my kids, I'm 19 and a 14-year-old. They love SNL. Love SNL. I watch it. I'm like, oh my God, this show was never for me. This was not a show. This is a show for kids. It's a kids show disguised as a show for mature adults. It's not. It's a kids show. And I think a lot of the ads that you're seeing now and a lot of the marketing that you're consuming, being the age that we are, Gino, it's just not for us anymore.
Well, it's funny because the one where I didn't get, I'm almost referenced, it had an SNL actress on it. The one where they have the champagne cork going into the window or whatever.
Oh, right. Home.
Yeah, like what? That's funny.
Home Finder.
I'm like,
or whatever.
that's what? Yeah. Where? Oh, okay. Not for me.
The one that made us laugh the most, unintentionally made us laugh the most. And let me see if I can set a picture here. It's me, my two brother-in-laws, and my daughter, and we're watching the game, and we're all in the tank, and the commercial. I want to say it was a Kia commercial, where the girl is at a figure skating competition and they show the empty seat next to dad, and dad's watching his daughter figure skating. I assume his daughter figure skating, the empty seat. They all get in the Kia and they drive to the middle of God knows where there just so happens to be a frozen pond in the front yard. And they light it up and they get the sound and the light. And then you've got, grandpa or whoever it is rolling up in the wheelchair, and I'm laughing because I'm like, wait a minute, you're supposed to make this guy who can't leave his house feel guilty for not showing up, and this is what you're gonna do. And by the way, this is a car commercial. It says nothing about the car and everything about the emotion of this special moment where she's doing her routine in front of his log cabin in the middle. It could be the Unabomber. We have no idea who this guy is, but we know that he's in a wheelchair and he's not going to be, it's not easy for him to get around, but we're going to make him feel guilty for missing her recital. I thought it was the most ridiculous commercial, and it just reminds me that when you see car commercials now, so many of them, again, you and I might feel the same way. When I see a car commercial, I want to know what your car is going to do from a performance point of view. Like, I'm paying for performance. I want to know this is a car that will kick ass. This is a car that will get me from 0 to 60. This is a car that will last me 10 years. Whatever your selling point is, I want to know that. But no, we've got emotion. We've got to put everything through the filter of this is going to make you feel something. I don't want to feel anything. Tell me how fast your car goes.
Right, like the one commercial, and I don't think they played it last night, where like, hey, everybody's going back to work. What does that have to do with the car that you're... No, tell me about the warranty.
Oh,
tell
okay.
me about,
So you're telling me that this is a car that I have to, one, plug in, and two, I'm probably going to have to push downhill to get it up to speed. Okay, great. Can we get to what the car actually does and maybe move away from the feels? I don't need the feels. I don't need... And we were laughing hysterically. It wasn't intentional. Like, they didn't make the spot to make us laugh. We were laughing like, what is this? This is a girl performing a recital on somehow there's a frozen pond in his front yard, and they've lit it beautifully, and it's like so ridiculous. And then ultimately you're making this old man feel guilty because he can't leave the house to be at the recital in person. We just thought it was ridiculous. That was the funniest ad of the night for me. I don't know. The other ones might have tried to be funny, but that was the funniest ad. That one elicited the most laughter.
Part of it, too, is like you see a lot of these, like the one with Brady and Vince Vaughn.
I thought it was great.
That was great, but that's only half of it. Like, I saw that last week.
That's right.
And, like, they edited it down. They took out some of the funniest parts in that, actually.
That's right.
Before we get to our guest, I got a take on this, all right? And
Tell me.
All right, so let's examine the Chiefs wide receiver group, shall we? Rashee Rice, second-round pick. Justin Watson was a 5th rounder. Marquez Valdez-Scantling, Green Bay scrap heap.
Yeah.
Mecole was cut by the Jets or let go by the Jets. Are you kidding me? A 2nd rounder in Sky Moore who can't get on the field. Richie James, a 7th rounder, and Kadarius Toney, inactive, soon to be ex-Chiefs. Let's review. 2 seconds, a 5th, 7th, scrap heap, sucky Kadarius Toney. Please tell me how the Buffalo Bills need to use a 1st-round pick on a wide receiver. I'm sorry. Get someone physical who can play on either side of the ball. Danger, we're going to be the show here. I think you and I, this has kind of swayed us. Get me somebody in the defensive line that can punch somebody in the mouth. Get me a mean left tackle or somebody that you can groom. That is where the games are won. Patrick Mahomes can make these receivers look great. Why? Because he's Patrick Mahomes. Josh Allen can do the same thing.
I don't think he can. I don't know that he can. That might be the difference. Patrick Mahomes has made one mistake in terms of his decision making in the postseason over the last 2 years. That pick, the pick last night, that was his first pick in 11 postseason games or something like that. Some ridiculous stat that crossed my mind. The guy just makes the right decision all the time, and Josh Allen notoriously does not make the right decisions. All the talent in the world. And maybe the kind of player that can make a Khalil Shakir better. But I think we recognize Khalil Shakir isn't really a 1. Do you really need that 1? Rashee Rice might end up being that 1. He was a discount, right? You got him
second rounder, yeah.
You got him in the second round.
So can you get a receiver in the second? I know you have to think ahead, beyond the future of Diggs. Diggs, you're going to have 1-2 more years, maybe. Okay, then if there's a Rashee Rice in the second round, go get that guy.
I know these guys are hard to find, and Catalano was great with us, and I think he's humoring me. But, man, when you watch Chris Jones, you can't you watch the play of Chris Jones, and then you compare it to the play of Ed Oliver. It's not that Ed Oliver's a bad player. He's a good player, and he had a lot of great games this year, and he had the best season of his young career. But physically, you can't compare the two. You just cannot. And that I feel is that's a glaring omission from the Bills roster and how they've constructed it. I just want big, mean, physical guys. And I don't know that you have that, especially on the defensive side of the ball. And when you're talking about the secondary, with Snead now as a free agent, but with Snead and McDuffie's spectacular. You don't have that. And that I'm sure that's a guy you wanted, but guess what happened on draft night? They beat you on draft night as well. I don't want to bring in Bingley. I don't want to. He's just going to bring up all this. He's going to dig up all of this stuff and make us feel.
Do we cancel him, Bingley?
Yeah, I think that is rude. We have to bring him up. But I'm not looking forward to this conversation.
We can make it quick.
All right. Well, maybe we'll make it quick. Let me sneak this in as well, because I've heard a lot of people say this. And everybody today, the topic of the conversation is the Super Bowl. A lot of people saying the same thing. Boring first half. And maybe we've run out of problems, because I like a good defensive battle, and that was what was on display. Let's keep in mind, and you and I, Gino, and a lot of Bills fans are old enough to remember when the Super Bowl
sucked.
Most years were one-sided blowouts. And that, to me, is more boring than watching two unreal defenses like we did last night lock it down. The last time you had an actual game was the actual game was a bust in the Super Bowl? Was it the COVID year? Was that the year that
it was 38-9, I think was the final, or some 31-10? Yeah, something ridiculous.
Niners, Chiefs?
Yeah, and the whole vibe was...
Chiefs,
Buccaneers.
Chiefs, Bucks, right. That was the COVID year, but you throw that one out and you have what? Maybe Seattle routing Denver 10 years ago now. We're kind of spoiled, and it's a pretty good bet that the game itself is going to deliver year in and year out.
For most of that game, that reminded me of Patriots-Rams. That was 13-3. Like, what am I watching? Oh, it's great defense. I'm like, is it really? And as soon as, like, the Kansas City kicked their first field goal, I'm like, nope. Nope, this is not happening for the 49ers. We've seen this before. Mahomes will figure out this puzzle like he always does.
Yeah.
And you're right. Maybe it's the rules that allow teams to kind of get back into things, because the Super Bowl always was just a massive disappointment. It really was. It was a joy if you got a good Super Bowl every once in a while. Like Bills Giants, what the nation was saying after was, what an outstanding game. Everything.
Yeah.
Like, okay, and then 3 other Bills Super Bowls were a disaster.
Completely one-sided affairs, right? It felt like that was the norm. The Niners would go in and destroy the Broncos. I think of some of the better games that we've had. I mean, the Steelers and Cardinals was fantastic. Just a great Super Bowl, right? These plays, the 28-3 comeback. We've been blessed. Yeah. I mean, most of these Super Bowls have been a hit. And even if you have it was a boring first half. That boring first half. Maybe we've run out of problems or we just need to complain about something. It was a good game yesterday.
Yeah, Broncos-Panthers was bad. That was a bad game. That was Peyton Manning on sawdust. And
that wasn't great, but it was still somewhat like you could, if you're a Panthers fan, maybe it didn't feel like it during the game, but you weren't out of that game. You weren't ever really out of that game. The Seahawks Broncos Super Bowl 10 years ago is the one that was like, oh, wow, where did this come from? And that was surprising. It wasn't a good game. It was just surprising to see the outcome be what it was. All right, I know you have one more thing to
I was going to we could do this right now. Something that's gone by the wayside in our town, Danger, the celebrity sports banquet. There would always be a few every year. They're all gone now. Well, there's one down the thruway, and that's coming up next week in Syracuse. Jim Boeheim will be the featured guest. It's at 6 p.m. on the day where he's going to be on there against Notre Dame on the 24th. You want tickets for that, Danger? Mike Tirico will be flying in as the MC, of course. It's for only $250. Look, if you love FSU hoops, knock yourself out, but know this. Boeheim is not a good public speaker. He's going to meander. He'll tell you stories you already know, like your grandfather would. But since this game is at noon, the dinner's at 6, half the audience is going to be bombed anyway.
Yeah, maybe I'm in the minority as far as a sports fan is concerned. These things aren't my bag. They're just not. Like when you have a celebrity or a pro athlete or a former coach or whatever coming in to deliver a speech, and even if you get the opportunity to get a picture or shake their hand.
Yeah.
I've never been that way where I'm like, oh, I can't wait to meet. We had Mike Singletary on with us earlier this year. I love Mike Singletary. Love him. One of my favorite Chicago Bears of all time. But and I can't remember what the conflict was. I have to get my nephew on the bus in the morning. I wasn't able to go see his breakfast with the Open Door Mission because I had that prior commitment, and I was okay with it. I'm like, yeah, it's fine.
For years, they don't do it anymore. The Compeer dinner where you would have your Kareem Abdul-Jabbar and all these other greats, and they would come in and they would give you some wisdom and kind of give you a speech, and you feel good because, all right,
we went to one together. We went to the Cower one, didn't we?
Yeah, the Cower one. Yeah,
Cower was good.
He was good too. The worst one, I'm telling you, was Jim Boeheim, because Jim Boeheim got up there and he had no plan. He's talking about Derek Coleman. He's just rambling and rambling and rambling. I'm like, okay, what are we doing here? How does this make our community better? Hope they paid him a lot.
We got to get to Binkley. I struggle to say it, but listen anyway. That's coming up next in the sports bar. Happy hours around the corner as well, and you're welcome to join us at 866-4326, 585-866-4FAN. Gentlemen, the moment is here. Valentine's Day is Wednesday. This is your chance to shine. The Spot at Del Monte has the secret for the best Valentine's Day gift ever. Nothing says I love you more than a gift card to the Spot at Del Monte. They may not tell you what they actually want for Valentine's Day, but a gift card from the Spot at Del Monte will show how much you've been paying attention. Gift cards are available for purchase in-store or online at delmontespa.com.
You're listening to the Sports Bar with Danger and Battaglia on 95.7 FM and AM 950, The Fan Rochester.
Odyssey has sports for every fan. Keep up with your favorite teams from across the country and get the inside scoop from experts. AUDACY. Odyssey.
For over 50 years, Heritage Jewelers has been a place where love is celebrated every day. And Valentine's Day is all about celebrating love. I'm Alec Iovino. From classic jewelry to trendy styles, or an engagement ring that begins a lifelong celebration, we're making shopping this Valentine's Day simple and affordable with gifts from $125. Gifts for family or jewelry that celebrates an event. Exceptional quality, value, and style. This is our heritage. Let us be a part of yours. Heritage Jewelers at the corner of Ridge and Long Pond Road in Greece.
Recently, the lyrics to Beethoven's Fifth Symphony were discovered.
If you've been injured by a truck or by a car, call 444-4444. William Matar. Hurt in a car, call William Matar. Call 444-4444.
Who knew? Main Street, Williamsville, West Main Street, Rochester.
Batavia Downs is proud to announce the return of their Brewfest on Saturday, February 17th. Presented by Genesee Brewery and Rohrbach Brewing Company. Be sure to get your tickets and sample from various local breweries. Tickets are just $30 and includes $15 of free play, a sampling cup, and hors d'oeuvres. Hotel packages available too. Head to BataviaConcerts.com for tickets and info. That's the Batavia Downs Brewfest on Saturday, February 17th.
Cracked windshield? Chipped windshield? Get it fixed fast. Call your neighborhood glass company, Ray Sands Glass. Ray Sands Glass accepts your insurance. Did you know you can choose any glass company you want for repairs? Come see in Rochester or Canandaigua, or we'll come to you. Choosing Ray Sands Glass means you're doing business with your neighbors. And Ray Sands Glass does all types of glass repairs, including auto, commercial, and residential. Just go to raysandsglass.com and request a quote. Don't wait. Go to raysandsglass.com and get your glass fixed fast.
We fix it fast.
This past month brought you the winter weather we're used to. Now February is here and the kids are excited, but your chance for a February break is at Vision Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram. During the President Day sales event, lease your new 2024 Jeep Grand Cherokee Limited, the official vehicle of winter, for just $399 a month for 27 months. Just $399 a month. Call 1-888-747-0516 for details. Take your February break, follow your heart to Vision Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram in Penfield.
For the ones who work hard to ensure their crew can always go the extra mile, and the ones who get in early so everyone can go home on time, there's Grainger, offering professional-grade supplies backed by product experts so you can quickly and easily find what you need. Plus, you can count on access to a committed team ready to go the extra mile for you. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Pizza's here.
Oh, great. I'd love some, but I'm worried about my stomach issues.
If you're worried about having diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, or loose, oily stools, it may not just be stomach issues. It could be a condition called exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, or EPI. With EPI, the pancreas doesn't release enough enzymes to break down food, but EPI is manageable. Use the symptom checker on identifyepi.com and talk to your doctor. That's identifyepi.com. Sponsored by AbbVie.
Getting your biggest tax refund from Jackson Hewitt can lead to some spirited reactions.
Jackson Hewitt, yeah!
Jackson Hewitt is so sure they'll get you your biggest refund that if they don't, you get your money back plus $100.
Jackson Hewitt, yeah!
Switch to Jackson Hewitt and we'll beat what you paid last year, even if you filed online.
Yeah!
Ain't nothing to it. Switch to Jackson Hewitt and pay less for tax prep, guaranteed. Proof of prior year payment required when filing. New clients only at participating locations through April 7th. Terms at jacksonhewitt.com.
The Ide family of dealerships is locally owned, and when you do business with us, you're also supporting the hundreds of local organizations that we're part of. So when you're in the market, visit us at Ide Honda or Ide Volkswagen. We're here, we're local, and we'd love to earn your business.
You love sports, and so do we. Download the free Odyssey app to listen to games, podcasts, and radio stations like The Fan Rochester for free. Odyssey, for everything Bills, Sabres, and Amherst. Follow The Fan Rochester in the Odyssey app.
The Fan Rochester Sports Update.
For the first time in 19 years, we have a repeat champion in the NFL. The Chiefs outlasting the Niners in overtime. What about that confrontation between head coach and tight end? Here's Andy Reid.
He caught me off balance. I wasn't watching. Cheap shot, but that's all right. He did good. He was really coming over, just put me in, I'll score, so that's really what it was. Well, I love that. I mean, it's not the first time, so I appreciate him.
Jay Binkley, 610 Sports in Kansas City, joining us next year in the Sports Bar. DJ Mangus He's the latest addition to the Bills coaching staff, offensive quality control coach, formerly a wide receiver at William & Mary. Sabres practice today. Owen Power was injured. No idea on the extent. He was to undergo imaging this afternoon. The Sabres hosting the Kings tomorrow night. Gene Battaglia, the sports leader, 95.7 FM and AM 950. The Fan, Rochester.
Neat or on the rocks? It's the Sports Bar with Danger and Battaglia on the Sports Leader, 95.7 FM and AM 950 The Fan, Rochester.
You go on and win the championship, being the underdog the last 3 games in the playoffs. Maybe a lesson learned for everybody else out there in the future.
Yeah, just know that the Kansas City Chiefs are never underdogs. Just know that.
There he is, Patrick Mahomes, Super Bowl MVP, Super Bowl champ. All right, let's take our medicine. Jay Binkley, 610 Sports. Kansas City.
When I line this up, Danger, and this is on me, and any listener that's upset that I did this, I really, in the back of my mind, thought this is the day we humbled Jay Binkley.
Not so much. Jay, was there a play in last night's game, and you can't say the opening kickoff, where you knew Kansas City was going to win?
Probably last year when the odds came out for the Super Bowl, guys.
Even better.
Hey, San Francisco's already the favorite for next year's Super Bowl. Isn't that funny? The Chiefs are once again the underdogs again. No, there was, here's the deal. When the Chiefs fall down 10 points, I do get concerned about it, whether they can come back or not in that game. But literally how they were kind of getting pushed around there in the beginning of the game was concerning.
So how do the Chiefs, and really we saw this a little bit with the Bills, we saw it big time with the Ravens, and we saw it from the second quarter to the third. Like, wait a second, you have Christian McCaffrey. Why are you not running McCaffrey? Like, what is it? Is there a potion? Is there a spell? Why do teams stop running against Kansas City?
I don't know. Baltimore clearly did as well. That physicality of Kansas City kind of surprised them. But to answer the first question, it's kind of when they finally took a lead. When they first took a lead, I was like, all right, they're going to try to hopefully build on something here. But, yeah, I don't know why teams shy away from the run. I don't know why San Francisco did a lot of the things they're doing. We're seeing a lot of mental mistakes when teams play the Chiefs. And that's a difference between, someone that's won and someone that hasn't won. It's the difference between knowing how to win when the game is close or winning at the end. There's a reason why Kyle Shanahan's 131 when he's down by 8 points in the fourth quarter. There's a reason why Mahomes is not. There is a definite reason why the 49ers are. This guy's lost in overtime twice in the Super Bowl. His team, guys, didn't even know the overtime rules. Some of the players were talking after the game, starters for the team, that they did not know the overtime rules. The Chiefs have been working on this ad nauseum for the last couple of weeks. They started working on the new rules back in training camp. There's really no excuse for that, to be honest with you. I mean, some of the national media is finally picking up on the story like, hey, the Chiefs have been working on this all year, and you guys don't even know overtime rules. It was quite embarrassing why Shanahan didn't defer that when he won that toss in overtime. It made no sense.
So, Jay, I was going to say, listen, Hardman didn't know the rule either. He had to be told by Mahomes that they just won the game. So I understand there was probably more preparation by Andy Reid and his team.
Yeah, but Hardman's not the head coach, Al.
Yeah. The question I was going to ask you, and you're kind of asking me, this was the first time that we saw this rule in overtime. This is the Buffalo Bills rule, the rule that, both teams should get a shot at winning the game. Do you think that there is an advantage to deferring? Because there is a difference between 100%. Playing 3-ball football versus 4-down football.
100%, guys, 100%. Let's not forget 2 years before that was Tom Brady that did that against Patrick Mahomes. Or he might have an extra ring. Patrick Mahomes might have 4 Super Bowl rings and Tom Brady only 6 because it would have been the Chiefs in that Super Bowl and not the Patriots. But it happened to the Chiefs. It didn't just happen to the Buffalo Bills 2 years later with Josh Allen. It happened to Mahomes and Tom Brady that in the AFC title game in overtime, they won the toss, they won down score. The Chiefs tried to change the rule then. They did not change the rule until it happened to Josh Allen. But the Chiefs tried to change it 2 years before that. But no, it is an advantage to defer because what happens is if you go down and score a touchdown, you don't want the other team to do that because then you're giving Mahomes an extra down because then he's going to go for it on fourth down because he knows he needs to get a touchdown. So if you score a touchdown first, then he's going to get the ball second and he's going to go down and start going for it every time on fourth down and try to even the score. Plus the Chiefs were going to go for 2 had they tied the game up. But it serves you no advantage not to defer that because you're basically giving the other team and the other quarterback the advantage of knowing he's got 4 downs to tie the score up. That's not a good mixture.
Jay Binkley, 610 Sports in Kansas City. Jay, what did you make of Travis Kelce and Andy Reid? I mean, I'm just thinking if there was just a little bit more force there and Andy Reid, had actually fallen over, we'd be talking about that a lot more. It seemed like CBS barely touched on it.
Yeah, I was surprised too. I mean, it was not a good look, but here's a guy in Kelce that gave that speech the night before. He was fiery. He was one of the guys on this team that really wanted this one more than any other Super Bowl. He took it to heart, and this is the way this coaching staff interacts with players. I mean, they've had several of these incidents on the sideline this year, and it's been pointed out where, it's happened with Chris Jones and defensive line coaches, but it turns out that they're friends, and this is just how they get in each other's face, and they do this kind of thing. But I think Andy Reid was caught off guard by it. I don't think he's mad by it or perturbed by it whatsoever. I think that he's given Kelce the benefit of the doubt, being a Hall of Famer and himself a Hall of Famer, and knows he needs him. So it wasn't a good look, though. Yeah, I'm with you on that. The aesthetics of that was not good.
Was there
it looks like they smoothed it over.
Was there any sort of apology from Kelce? I mean, the thing about Kelce that's disturbing there, and this is why I believe that the only standard that exists is a double standard, Bank, is that, Kelce's a superstar. And he's a role model, whether he wants to admit it or not. There are kids watching that game that now think, hey, if Travis Kelce can get in their coach's face and get in his face, then I can do the same thing at the youth, at the high school, or at the college level. Is Kelce? Do you think Kelce will man up and address that?
He probably will. Knowing him, he probably will. He's probably done it. He's probably already talked to him, man to man, about it. And Reid has a father-like relationship with a lot of these guys, where they'll get into each other's face. Same with Bieniemy when he was here. I mean, they'll get into each other's faces, they'll yell, and then they'll act like men about it and be friends about it the next day. But, yeah, of course, I'm with you guys on that. I mean, it doesn't look good when a guy like that, Andy Reid, is certainly an accomplished coach. He sits just 5 wins behind Belichick now as the all-time winner in the postseason. I mean, you don't do that. I don't care how many wins he has in the postseason. I don't care if it's done. You don't do that to a head coach. But, man, these guys have fire, and it's sometimes hard to bring that fire out of them. But I don't think that was an intentional thing at all. I think it just kind of got out of hand a little bit, but I don't think he purposely did that.
Jay Binkley, 610 Sports in Kansas City. Boy, fell into the trap a couple of years ago thinking, Tyreek Hill's gone, Well, we have an offseason coming up here where I'm looking at Chris Jones, free agent, L'Jarius Sneed, free agent. So what is the Chiefs' cap situation like, Jay? Like, what are the odds that both of these guys or one of the two will be back?
According to Over the Cap, they're $24 million under the cap. A simple restructure by Mahomes frees up another $37 million. So they'll have some money. They'll have some money to get a free agent wide receiver if that's the direction they want to go, or if they want to play all that money into bringing Chris Jones back or L'Jarius Sneed. Oftentimes they don't give contracts to guys that hit 30 years old, but obviously Chris Jones is a very popular player with this organization. You saw Andy Reid kind of tackling him there after the game. I don't know if you guys saw that clip, but he was kind of tackling Chris Jones at the end of the game there. But L'Jarius Sneed, I think they'll make a priority. He's 28 years old, still a couple years under 30, and shutting down number one receiver is a huge priority. But I will say this, the Chiefs spent a lot of money and time on the defense. That's the youngest defense in the NFL. That's the scary part for anybody else in this league, thinking, because they started to get good last year, and they got to the Super Bowl against the Eagles, and they were number 2 in the NFL in sacks, 11th in yards against. Then all of a sudden, you fast forward to this year, they're number 2 in total defense, which was higher than the Baltimore Ravens, barely behind the Ravens in points against per game. The only team in the National Football League did not give up more than 27 points. Matter of fact, 20 last 21 games they played, they've kept the opponent under 25 points. They were a miraculous defense and the youngest defense in the NFL, and they've spent 7 out of 10 draft picks 2 years ago on the defense, 5 out of 7 last year. So I expect them to go heavy on offense this year.
All right, Jay. So we look ahead to next season, and I think to myself, and I know a lot of this is the emotion of yesterday's game, I don't see a team beating the Chiefs in the AFC. Is there a team that can be a threat to your Kansas City Chiefs here moving ahead to the 2024 season?
Well, it's hard to think about it. Clearly, I still believe in Buffalo and always have. With that team and Josh Allen, because that guy just gives you a chance to win all the time. Baltimore, you'd like to think Baltimore's been there before, like they've been there with the Chiefs, but Lamar Jackson now 3-1 or 1-3 against them, and they had their opportunity. That's the scary thing for some of these teams. They had their opportunity. They got the Chiefs at their house. They were the favorite team. The Chiefs were down this year offensively. If you were going to beat them, this was the year to beat the Chiefs. and they didn't do it. But, Baltimore I don't think is going anywhere. I think that Lamar Jackson, being the two-time MVP, is a fantastic quarterback, and that team does know how to win because Harbaugh has won a ring. And I like the Houston Texans, these up-and-coming teams. I like C.J. Stroud and what he's doing, but I'd definitely keep Buffalo up there with Josh Allen. And of course, I think Cincinnati is a much different team if they have Joe Burrow. But certainly, I think a guy like Allen, I think a guy like Burrow, I think a guy like Jackson, on the right day can beat Patrick Mahomes. They haven't proven it necessarily in the postseason, but it's not like the Chiefs can win Super Bowls every year.
All right, so feedback here, Jay. Todd writing to us on X at the Fan Rochester. Please don't invite Jay Binkley back to the show. He represents the arrogance that Chiefs Kingdom has become. Oh, no. Jay, are you arrogant? Are Chiefs fans arrogant?
No, it's not arrogance, guys. It was frustration of just of always getting put down. You know, like it was the Chiefs against the world, and that's the way the Chiefs felt, and they haven't felt that way in a while. The fans have felt that way because, you know, it's the Chiefs against the world. People don't like the Chiefs. We play a national show here in the mornings, and I was listening to that, and their producers, like, living out in L.A., and like, yeah, wife and I are going to watch the Super Bowl, but she absolutely hates the Kansas City Chiefs and all this. And then you saw them get booed at the opening night. I don't know if you guys saw that, but Mahomes and Kelsey, when they were speaking, were getting booed, and Mahomes was like, okay, bring it, 49ers fans, bring it. They ticked him off right then. Like, they poked the bear, just like Justin Tucker did with those little mind games before the Baltimore game. They made him mad. And that's the one thing you don't want to do is put a chip on his shoulder because he's going to make you pay for it, and then he'll remind you about it later. But they did that, and they booed him. And then Mahomes even said, hey, I'll be the villain you want me to be. He didn't like that role, doesn't like being the villain, but that's what he's going to be. But they've embraced it. I've told people the Chiefs like being booed. Like, they like going on the road. They like chips on the shoulder. They like newspaper clippings. They like to see what people say. They don't often respond to it until afterwards, but they do respond to it. But they like when people say, and, you know, from Stephen A. Smith to Skip Bayless to, we have all the audio, man. You know, Sean O'Hara and the things he was saying, still taking Josh Allen over Mahomes after Mahomes beat him in the postseason. I mean, all these guys, Jeff Saturday and all the things that he said. It's amazing the amount of people that were putting down the Chiefs and saying they weren't even going to make the playoffs. They're not going anywhere. They underestimated, as Peter Schrager put it, they underestimated the heart of a champion. Like, it is tough when a team has gone and done it. It is tough to knock them out. And Mahomes has 4 games in his career, including postseason, where he's lost by more than one score. That's unbelievable, guys. I mean, that is unheard of in the NFL. That means in every game they're competitive. I mean, it's the competitive drive they have.
I think it's made up. I think that Travis Kelce, just like his brother did with Philadelphia, just made up this narrative that the world is against them and that everybody wants them, nobody likes them, and they don't care.
Not true.
I don't believe it, Jay. I don't believe it. I don't know who is disrespecting the Kansas City Chiefs.
Guys, I've got the audio. I keep all the audio clips. I mean, I keep it and I play it. You know,
I feel bad for you if that's what you're doing. You shouldn't have to do that. That's not real.
No, it is real because it's from ESPN or NFL Network, and it's guys saying, well, I don't believe in the Chiefs this year. They're down. They're not going to take a chance. I have Michael Irvin saying they're not going to make the playoffs 2 years ago. I've got Stephen A. Smith ripping on Steve Spagnuolo a couple years ago. I keep it all, man. You know, cause just let people just to remember because it is them against the world. I mean, I don't think they make this up. You guys have seen the hatred towards the Chiefs. I mean, people don't like them nationally. They want them to lose, and they're still watching. But they're either wanting them to win or they're wanting them to lose, and a large part of the country wants them to lose.
I don't know who would keep...
I don't think that's made up, guys. I don't.
Who would keep audio from, you know, who would keep receipts like that?
Jay, what was the general reaction to Chiefs fans a week ago tonight when they ended up trading up to the Bills to select Patrick Mahomes?
Thank you, Buffalo.
It just makes no sense that anybody would keep
Jay,
audio.
That's the one. Like,
guys, but it's a topic. It's a topic for radio because, oh, man, did you hear what Sean O'Hara said today? And did you hear what they had to say? I mean, it is a topic because it comes out all the time.
Jay, it doesn't make you unique. It doesn't. Every fan base, there are critics for every team.
I know. And Josh Allen certainly went that, too. He was either great or people. It was funny with Josh Allen because I always liked Josh Allen. It was funny because he would win some games and everybody talked about the touchdowns. And then he'd start losing a couple, then everybody's talking about the turnovers. You know what I'm saying? Like, he couldn't win. He couldn't win. He was in a situation where he's either great or bad.
That's right. And every team has a chip. Every player
Oh,
has
they
a
do.
chip.
They
You
do.
manufacture it, so none of it is real. We've just determined that none of it is real. It's just them choosing to, use that.
Or a producer telling them what to say. Oh, guys, I'm with you on that. They're not used to. They're getting used to praise now. 2014, everybody loved the Royals, beloved Royals. By 2015, people didn't like them. They got tired of the Royals. Then all of a sudden, they win the World Series, and everybody's like, "Oh man, we can't have this small market team win the World Series." And then the Chiefs have gone boom, boom, boom. We've had 4 championship parades in this town coming up here. We have the Chiefs on it again on Wednesday. We've got 4 championship parades since 2015 between the Royals and the Chiefs. That's unreal for what people refer to as flyover country to be sitting here as the epicenter of professional sports.
Jay, I really think of you as a friend, but now you have to bring up, because 2015 for us Mets fans, it's like, oh, hey, by the way, should we just take that? We're gonna take and just kind of let's decade.
I can't defend you anymore, Jay. You went after the Gene's Mets with your Royals comment there.
Hey, I did like City though. It's awesome. Great ballpark.
Jay, it's congratulations, Jay. Another championship for the Kansas City Chiefs, and I'm sure our paths are going to cross here at some point during the offseason.
Yeah, who do you want to open against, Jay? Do you want Cincinnati? Do you want Baltimore? Who do the Chiefs open against?
I don't know. Last year they gave them Detroit, so because they're the hot and up and coming team. And the Lions did beat the Chiefs, but I don't know, guys. I just think it's different to look at them, and the Patriots found a way to win different styles. Like they've won being a defensive team, they've won being an offensive team. Chiefs were a defensive team. They were. They beat the number 2, the number 3, the number 4, the number 6 ranked scoring offense in the NFL. That's pretty impressive for this defense, what Steve Spagnuolo did. But here's the funny thing, too, guys. The NFL awards that were on last week, the Chiefs did not have a finalist in the AP Offensive Player of the Year, Defensive Player of the Year, Assistant Coach of the Year, the Coach of the Year. They did not have a single finalist in any category, but yet have won 3 of the last 5 Super Bowls and have won back-to-back, but didn't have anybody in a single category. That shows you that's a team.
Or it shows you that, hey, the voting here is flawed because somebody was nominated for Comeback Player of the Year who died and didn't win. So, we're talking about
I'm with you on that. I'm with you on DeMar. I'm with you on him being the Comeback Player of the Year. I'm with you on that. I'm not with McDermott, and I'm not with Kyle Shanahan. I'm not with all these other coaches being ranked ahead of Andy Reid. Andy Reid wasn't even the top 11 for Coach of the Year. This guy's only won 1 Coach of the Year. And assistant coaches, there was not a better assistant coach in the NFL this year than Steve Spagnuolo. It is amazing, the disrespect. And it's trickling into the voters now that are voting this because they're holding vendettas against the Chiefs because, again, they had 0 people in any of the categories for finalists, and they win the Super Bowl.
Jay, you're not a victim. You're not a victim. Don't stop. It doesn't matter. It's a giant. We call it a Fred Sessa.
Oh, who cares?
Who cares, man? It doesn't matter. You got the ring. You got the parade to enjoy on Wednesday.
A whole year you can be like, fellas, I told you.
You can let go of some of those receipts, man, because it does not matter. The Chiefs are champs. We appreciate you making some time for us and stopping by the sports bar, buddy.
You guys are fun, and I still like the Buffalo Bills. You know that. I still like Rochester, New York. I still want to get out there. I think you guys are awesome, and we'll have some fun.
You got it, man.
Thanks, Jay.
All right, Jay Binkley, 610 Sports, Kansas City, joining us here in the sports bar.
Are you mad at me for booking that?
No, the audience might feel differently.
The audience might be
if
like,
there's
okay,
anybody,
enough of this guy.
Is there anybody left after, having to hear Jay Binkley talk about all the disrespect, the Kansas City Chiefs?
Hit the mutual. Hit the breaking news sounder.
We have some breaking news in the sports bar.
I don't. Well, this.
Ow! It really hit me. I didn't know it was coming back that far.
So the little Steeler note here. They're parting ways with Mitchell Trubisky. What? He's only 29.
How will they compete? That's it. Forget it. I'm book it. First losing season for Mike Tomlin. This move cannot be tolerated.
Well, they have to draft a quarterback. Or are they trading for Russell Wilson? Like, what are they doing?
Yeah, there's Man, there's a lot of with the Super Bowl in our rear view, a lot of intriguing and compelling storylines here in the offseason. One involving a team that might be a little close to my heart as well. So we'll continue to keep tabs on that. All right, so Mitch Trubisky, my friend, free agent once again.
Of course, the Steelers not doing him any favors. Like, oh yeah, hey Bears fans, in case you could have had the guy that won the 3 Super Bowls here in 5 years, or
sure could have.
Yeah, or this guy was back on the street.
Bills could have kept on to that pick instead of trading it to Kansas City. I mean, there's a lot of what ifs when you look at Patrick Mahomes. One thing that isn't a what if, the amount of rings that he's gotten, the Super Bowl MVPs that he's gotten, off to one hell of a career. I'd say some point here he could be the best ever. Let's get to happy hour and your phone calls at 866-4FAN 585-866-4326. We'll get to a round of shots as well. This hour of the Sports Bar is brought to you by the Farmer's Dog. Fresh, human-grade dog food delivered right to your door.
You're listening to the Sports Bar with Danger and Battaglia on 95.7 FM and AM 950, The Fan Rochester.
Odyssey has sports for every fan. Keep up with your favorite teams from across the country and get the inside scoop from experts. AUDACY. Odyssey.
Tax Talk with Straight Talk.
You give and you give. This tax season, you get with Straight Talk Wireless. You get a reliable 5G network and unlimited data and a new Samsung Galaxy A15 for just $99. So you can give your janky phone to your kid. Yeah! Good talk.
Switch to Straight Talk for plans starting as low as $25 a line per month for 4 lines. Find us at Walmart and StraightTalk.com. For network management practices, visit StraightTalk.com. Device offer ends 4/14/24. In-store activation on single Silver Unlimited plan or higher required. Family plan discount with 4 lines all on the Silver Unlimited plan. Taxes and fees apply. Kelley Blue Book is the one-stop shop for pricing, fixing, selling, and instant cash offering. Instant Cash Offer is exactly what it sounds like. An official offer to buy or trade your car. Just enter your VIN or license plate, answer a few questions about your car's history, and what kind of condition it's in. In minutes, you'll receive an offer to sell or trade your car that you can be sure is fair. Then choose a dealer to purchase your car and schedule a time to meet. For all of the its, KBB.com.
The month of January finally brought us some of the winter weather we're used to. Now February is here and the kids are excited. But your chance for a February break is waiting right now at all 10 Vision locations. New cars with the best pricing in all of Western New York. Used cars with huge discounts. That's right, this is your chance to save thousands. So take your February break. Follow your heart to the new Vision.
DWI, who do you hire? Ask a cop, a judge, a friend. They'll say Ed Fiondoc. Better yet, ask someone who had a DWI. They'll say Ed Fiondoc, or I wish I had hired Ed Fiondoc. NYDWI.com.
Whether you need service or installation, call Crossfield Heating and Air, your authorized Trane dealer today. Crossfield's been partnering with Trane for over 30 years. Everyone knows it's hard to stop a Trane. Go to CrossfieldHeating.com now and check out all the latest service and installation specials. Being comfortable in your home, that's the Crossfield feeling. Your neighbors have it and you can too. Give us a call, 872-4420, or visit CrossfieldHeating.com.
Loving that Crossfield feeling.
Batavia Downs is proud to announce the return of their Brewfest on Saturday, February 17th. Presented by Genesee Brewery and Rohrbach Brewing Company. Be sure to get your tickets and sample from various local breweries. Tickets are just $30 and includes $15 of free play, a sampling cup, and hors d'oeuvres. Hotel packages available too. Head to BataviaConcerts.com for tickets and info. That's the Batavia Downs Brewfest on Saturday, February 17th.
Cracked windshield? Chipped windshield? Get it fixed fast. Call your neighborhood glass company, Ray Sands Glass. Ray Sands Glass accepts your insurance. Did you know you can choose any glass company you want for repairs? Come see in Rochester or Canandaigua, or we'll come to you. Choosing Ray Sands Glass means you're doing business with your neighbors. And Ray Sands Glass does all types of glass repairs, including auto, commercial, and residential. Just go to raysandsglass.com and request a quote. Don't wait. Go to raysandsglass.com and get your glass fixed fast.
We fix it fast.
The Buffalo Bills, the Buffalo Sabres, the Rochester Americans. All of the sports we care about in Rochester are right here on the Fan Rochester. Listen anytime on the free Odyssey app.
It is time to turn the pro football page to 2024. I'm Aaron Hawksworth here to help you beat the books with BetQL. The big game lived up to the big hype as the Chiefs go back-to-back in dramatic fashion. After some celebrating, the BetQL model will have you covered for all the football insights you need when it is time to think about a three-peat. I'm Aaron Hawksworth. Bet smarter, beat the books. Download the BetQL and BetMGM apps today.
For the ones who work hard to ensure their crew can always go the extra mile, and the ones who get in early so everyone can go home on time, there's Grainger, offering professional-grade supplies backed by product experts so you can quickly and easily find what you need. Plus, you can count on access to a committed team ready to go the extra mile for you. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Odyssey has sports for every fan. Keep up with your favorite teams from across the country and get the inside scoop from experts. AUDACY. Odyssey.
Guys, a big one's coming up, and no, I'm not talking about football. I'm talking about Valentine's Day. You get the best selection when you shop local at Rockcastle Florist. Go to rockcastleflorist.com and shop Modern Love, Love and Bloom, Romantic Duet Rose Bouquets, and more. All new designs she's sure to love. Rockcastle's partnered with a New York State winery and bakery, and they deliver wine, beer, and baked goods. So go ahead, add a bottle of her favorite white or red, a cannoli cake, maybe some cupcakes, a rose bouquet with a bottle of Riesling, or her favorite from Rohrbox. Don't drop the ball. Go to rockcastleflorist.com today and place your order.
If you need a winter warm-up, go to Market View Liquor for the best selection, price, and advice. Go to marketviewliquor.com and order online for same-day curbside pickup. Use the Drizzly app for same-day delivery. Jefferson Road, Henrietta, and marketviewliquor.com.
This is Gardner from the Village at Mill Landing. I just love everything about this place. I moved into a studio apartment from my home, and let me tell you something, it's all you need. I am busy all day with the wonderful programs going on here, like exercise classes, poker, bus trips, and of course, the Hometown Cafe. With so many options, you just can't go wrong. It's truly affordable luxury. Check us out at thevillageatmilllanding.com.
If a part-time job that pays up to $27 an hour offers a $1,500 or $5,000 signing bonus for qualified drivers with weekends and holidays off sounds appealing to you, then you should apply now at First Student. First Student offers paid training for new bus drivers. Whether you're a retiree looking for part-time or you need to supplement your income, First Student has positions for you right now. Apply at workatfirst.com. That's workatfirst.com. First Student is an equal opportunity employer.
Cracked windshield? Chipped windshield? Get it fixed fast. Call your neighborhood glass company, Ray Sands Glass. Ray Sands Glass accepts your insurance. Did you know you can choose any glass company you want for repairs? Come see in Rochester or Canandaigua, or we'll come to you. Choosing Ray Sands Glass means you're doing business with your neighbors. And Ray Sands Glass does all types of glass repairs, including auto, commercial, and residential. Just go to raysandsglass.com and request a quote. Don't wait. Go to raysandsglass.com and get your glass fixed fast.
We fix it fast.
Wake up. Breakfast. And Nature Made vitamins. Whatever your morning sounds like, Nature Made fits right in. Whether you're looking for vitamin C or a multivitamin to get key nutrients, we've got you covered. Now that's a good morning. We take care of you so you can take on your day. Start your day with Nature Made, the #1 pharmacist-recommended vitamin and supplement brand. Based on a survey of pharmacists who recommend branded vitamins and supplements.
Without the ones like you, who work tirelessly to keep things running, everything would suddenly stop. Hospitals, factories, schools, and power plants, they all depend on you. No matter the weather, emergency, or time of day, you're the ones who get it done. At Grainger, we're here for you with professional-grade industrial supplies. Count on real-time product availability and fast delivery. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Hey, it's Tiki Barber. eBay Motors has everything you need to keep your ride or die alive. From superchargers, brakes, exhaust kits, and more. With over 122 million parts, eBay Motors levels your baby up to its peak performance. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, your part is guaranteed to fit your ride every time or your money back. With all the parts you need at the prices you want, it's easy to bring home the win. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
The Buffalo Bills, the Buffalo Sabres, the Rochester Americans. All of the sports we care about in Rochester are right here on the Fan Rochester. Listen anytime on the free Odyssey app.
WROC AM, WBEE HD2, and W239BF Rochester. The sports leader. 95.7 FM and AM 950. The Fan Rochester.
Always live on the free Odyssey app.
The Fan Rochester Sports Update.
For the second time in 4 years, Kansas City knocking off San Francisco in a Super Bowl. This time at quarterback, it was Brock Purdy experiencing the pain.
It just hurts, we have the team obviously to do it, to win the whole thing and come up short like that. The way things have been the last couple of years here, everyone wanted it so bad. So I think we're still trying to sort of gather, our thoughts and everything right now. But everyone in that locker room loves each other, I tell you that.
Another addition to the Bills coaching staff. His name is DJ Mangus, offensive quality control coach. He's a grad of William & Mary. Buffalo Sabre practice today. Owen Power was injured. No idea on the extent he was to undergo imaging this afternoon. Sabres hosting the Kings tomorrow night. The Emirates in action at Utica coming up Wednesday. Gene Battaglia, the sports leader, 95.7 FM and AM 950. The Fan Rochester.
The Sports Bar with Danger and Battaglia.
Touchdown! Kansas City! Nicole Hardman with the catch on the right side. A 3-yard touchdown pass in overtime. Kansas City wins the game 25-22. And the Chiefs Kingdom has started its own history class. Champions of Super Bowl 58. Their third Super Bowl in 5 years.
They are the dynasty now of our life.
All hail the Kansas City Chiefs. All right. People don't like winners.
Viva Las Vegas!
Mike Danger.
What about Kyle Shanahan? Where will Kyle Shanahan win his first Super Bowl? San Francisco or the field?
Gene Battaglia.
Of course the Chiefs won because of Taylor Swift. This is the way it was fixed. Everything is fixed.
Now we have to go about 6 months without football.
No!
Your call is very important to us.
Moon River.
Yeah.
95.7 FM and AM 950 The Fan, Rochester.
I do find it kind of curious if there's a theme like about double standards being the only standard that exists. You have Travis Kelce blowing up on Andy Reid yesterday with the whole world watching. And if that were another player on your favorite team, chances are it would be a massive, massive story today. The other thing that I think is interesting when you talk about the Niners, nobody talks about them not winning the Super Bowl since the mid-'90s. Yet, if you're a Cowboys fan, it's all you hear about. How do the Niners get off so easy?
Well, because they are in Super Bowls. I think that's the short answer, is that the fact that you would have thought since Dallas' last championship, by the way, it was over Pittsburgh and it was at Sun Devil Stadium, in 96 would have been the calendar year, 95 season, that the last time San Francisco won a Super Bowl was the year before that. Steve Young over the Chargers in 94. But you've had losses along the way. Won to Baltimore, a couple here now to the Chiefs, and now all of a sudden the team or the franchise that was the gold standard. There's like everybody else here.
I think Shanahan, he's going to wear out his welcome in San Francisco. I don't think they're going to be satisfied with this guy. He might be the best play caller in the game. But now you've got multiple instances of him choking on the biggest stage, in the biggest moments, as an offensive coordinator with Atlanta and now twice with the Niners.
Well, let me ask you a question this way. Anybody who wants to join us, 866-4FAN, 866-4326. Was it the play calling? Was it It's the game management, right? Is that the problem we have with Shanahan? Because that's what McDermott and Allen at the end of the game, that's why it was so strikingly similar. I knew what was going to happen. Yeah. It was so similar how the end of the Bills-Chiefs game, as soon as they trotted out Tyler Bass, it doesn't matter if he makes it or misses it. They are losing this game.
I've heard people say that Kyle Shanahan right now is in his Andy Reid in Philadelphia phase of his coaching career. And I think that there's something to that, right? Like Reid had a very long career in Philadelphia, but after a while, they were just like, he can only get us so far. We need better. We need to get on. And by the way, both parties, when they parted ways, they got what they wanted. The Eagles got their ring. The Chiefs got their. Andy Reid got his rings with the Chiefs. I'm just curious at what point, because even the most attractive of options, at some point, you will get tired of the most attractive of options in a scenario.
See, the question that I'm going to ask, I don't know the answer to, but what, are Niner fans as, looking at it like an East Coast sports fan would, like in Philadelphia, not tolerated, Buffalo, not tolerated, anywhere around here. I just get the impression from the outside, that's not even San Francisco. That's a team in nowhere, Santa Clara County, that, all right, everything's fine. The GM has this nice long contract and everything else, and it's a suburban team, basically.
Yeah, I'm not saying that there's going to be any sort of change anytime soon, but I do love the question of whether or not you think Shanahan wins his first championship in San Francisco or somewhere else. Let's face it, everybody has a figure attached to their name. And if you really think Kyle Shanahan could be the guy that brings your team their first title, if it doesn't work anymore in San Francisco, if you don't make the Super Bowl every year, if you don't get your first Super Bowl, they've got a luxury for the next couple of years with Brock Purdy. I mean, the idea that you're paying him, and you've got your guy now. He's your franchise quarterback.
Yeah. Well, to answer your question about Shanahan, 4 years ago, that loss, it was on Garoppolo. He had Emmanuel Sanders wide open, overshot him. You hit that play. Yeah, you'd likely the Niners win that game. That's not the case yesterday. You had Brock Purdy. You did everything with Brock Purdy. So Shanahan will always have a spot in this league for just pointing to, hey, I can take subpar talent, even though maybe Brock Purdy ends up being a good quarterback. But
I think he already is, man. He was great last night. He wasn't the reason why they lost.
He was great, but hey, if you were sitting at home thinking, wow, they're bringing the blitz, mix in a screen. They didn't use McCaffrey enough in that game. I would have worn McCaffrey out until he was crawling away. Honestly, yesterday I thought that was kind of questionable how they veered away from the run. How is the Chiefs that they get the metronome out or the little swing ball and they hypnotize him? Oh, no, you don't want to run the ball. You want to throw. I mean, the Bills got away from it a little bit. Baltimore big time. And then yesterday, San Francisco's up 10-0 and they stopped running the football with the best running back in the game.
Yeah, it's puzzling.
It's the coach.
It is, right? And, we talked about this earlier. Joe from Rochester chimed in and to bring it around to the Bills is like, look, McDermott's only going to take you so far. You're wasting years. Josh, I don't know that these conversations are happening in the fan base for the Niners. But they probably should. They probably should be happening. I'm not saying that another coach could get more out of Brock Purdy. I think Kyle Shanahan, what he did with Brock Purdy has been fantastic. If you want to call him a game manager, fine. If you want to call him a system quarterback, fine. But the guy's a winner, and he wasn't the reason why they lost yesterday. The play calling is puzzling. I'm with you. What are we getting away from the run for? You're running the ball effectively. You could say the same thing about the Ravens game. You could say the same thing about the Bills game. It's almost as if you wanted to let the Chiefs back into the game when you had some control. Peter reaching out to us on Elon's Twitter. That's X at the Fan Rochester. The 49ers are the closest modern comparison to the 90 to 94 Bills. I'm not sure they get over the hump. Do you feel that about this team, Gino? I don't know that I would go that far. They're a consistent team, but that Bills team was a different breed, man.
Like the Niners, what you're saying, Peter, is that they're going to be back in the Super Bowl. So what you're saying there is the Niners will get back to the Super Bowl in 24, 25, and then 26. So if they lose in 26, then you can have that conversation about consistency with the Buffalo Bills.
But I wonder if that conversation is happening with the fans. If they're looking at today's loss, looking at the loss today and thinking to themselves, Shanahan, great play caller, this one's on him?
Well, I think because the overtime decision to receive the ball. Now, you and I could debate this, and the analytics actually, you don't really have a conclusive, this is what you should do, but couple things. One,
what analytics, by the way? This was the first time that this rule was ever put in
analytics
place.
Is the wrong word. Simulations. There were simulations about this that I'll look up the study that 51% of the time you would defer. So there is a small difference if you would defer.
Okay.
Thank you for clarifying that, using the wrong word. Secondly, like the idea that Shanahan and you had his players not knowing the rule.
Yeah, I think too much is being made of that. I get it, and you have to be prepared for everything. But, Mecole Hardman had to be told by Patrick Mahomes that they just won the game. So there were players on the Chiefs that didn't know the rules. I guarantee you both locker rooms had plenty of players that had no idea what that new rule was. In fact, I had forgotten about it until it went to overtime. I'm like, oh, yeah, this is the Bills
great.
rule.
Yeah, this is great. All right, so we're going to get actually more football in a year where we want more football. Yes, give me more football.
Yeah.
The game when it was 4th and goal from the 3 or 4th and 3, and you send a blitz, like you 3rd and 3, and it brings up 4th and 3, you have to go for it there. Like, did anybody think that Mahomes wouldn't drive down the field against a defense that was kind of tired? The Chiefs got a stop, and that was your game there, folks.
I felt like the game turned on a play that is normally insignificant, and that's the extra point that was blocked. I think the way the Chiefs played on special teams actually led to them winning this game. You had that play. You had the punt that glanced off the Niners defender, the Niners leg that Ray tried to pick up instead of just fall on. But you had a couple of critical special teams play, and one of them that led directly to altering the way the Chiefs are going to approach the rest of the game. Being down 3 is not the same as being down 4. You make that extra point, you're down 4. You have to alter your strategy. Down 3, you've got a lot more options. And you kind of did the Chiefs a favor. The Chiefs did themselves a favor by blocking that extra point. I thought that was, if there was one play where I could say the Niners got it wrong, that was the play. Because I didn't think that Purdy had a bad game. Yeah, McCaffrey fumbled. That was probably important early in the game because you were on your way. Chances are you're scoring that drive if you don't fumble early in that game, if you're Christian McCaffrey. But the blocked extra point to me was critical in the Chiefs getting over and getting their championship.
Yeah, and then the cosmic, I don't know if that's the right word, but sometimes when you have a starter that is literally just stepping off and getting ready to run out of the field and blowing up, it's an Achilles for Drake Greenlaw, if you hadn't heard.
That's the kind of thing when it happens, and I mentioned this for the Niners against the Lions, that when Ayuk makes that spectacular catch that we all remember off of the face mask of the Lions defender, you're, as a fan, you're watching it and you're like, maybe it's just not our night. And I would think the same thing with Dre Greenlaw hurting himself in that kind of improbable fashion, blowing out his Achilles. But to hear Fred Warner talk about how this was the same kind of Achilles that was bugging him and he's been dealing with it and it finally just gave way in the most critical of times, when you're off the field, you're not in a play. Yeah, that's severely unfortunate.
Yeah, and you just got that feeling last night. If I'm going to draw the basketball analogy where you have a team that maybe is up at the half by 5 and you look at the halftime stats and like, wait a second, the opponent, the team that's down here shot 35% from the floor. No, they're not going to be that poor again in the second half. The second that Kansas City made it 10-6 and like, okay, this is a one-score game. We know the way this plays out. What is frustrating for me, and I think it should be frustrating for all Bills fans, Bills had that same shot. It was right there. The margin between Buffalo and Kansas City, at least from on the field danger, you're talking about a minute and a half of a difference.
Yeah.
And closer than it was for Baltimore. Certainly we could debate the Super Bowl that San Francisco, did they give Kansas City a better game than Buffalo did? That's a fun debate. But we're looking ahead now. Like for the Bills in this offseason, can they make the right decisions? And I had this earlier in this take, and I think you and we might be the one show that says, hey, You need more physicality on this Bills team. You actually do, because sure, when you're winning games in September and October and November to a certain extent, it'd be great to have another wide receiver. It'd be great to have another playmaker. I want somebody who's going to push somebody around. I want somebody who's going to get the quarterback. I want the next Chris Jones on this team.
It feels like these games are being won in the trenches when you get this late in the season. That's all that matters. And when you watch the play of a Chris Jones, when you watch the play of a Trent Williams, when you watch the play of a Nick Bosa, you just see deficiencies in your own roster. If you're the Bills, or if you're any team that isn't playing in the Super Bowl, you look at your roster and you're like, we don't have that. We don't have a Travis Kelce, a guy who always appears to be open. And the most important thing that a lot of teams don't have is they don't have a Patrick Mahomes. That's the thing that the Bills can say. All right, we have a quarterback. We have that figured out. The Bengals can say, we have our quarterback. We have that figured out. But do you have the players like the Chris Joneses, or like the Nick Bosas, or like the Fred Warners, or like the L'Jarius Sneeds, or the McDuffies? It's just spectacular players. Just spectacular. The Bills in their secondary, they don't have a McDuffie. They do not. And for as nice of a season as Ed Oliver had, we could say it was his best season as a pro. He can't compete with a guy like Chris Jones because he doesn't have that size. He doesn't have that physical presence that Jones has. He's got a lot going for him. He's got a good career in front of him. Chris Jones is a different breed of cat, man.
Yeah, if there's one little ray of hope, maybe Sneed's a free agent. Chris Jones is a free agent. Yeah, so the Chiefs are going to have, they can bring back one, maybe both, but I don't see the Chiefs going on this massive shopping spree and loading up again here this offseason.
Well, I know that there's going to be a lot of chatter between now and the draft about the Bills taking a wide receiver. And you know what? I'll listen to that. And I think we would all say, if you Diggs is falling off, and if you're going to lose Diggs, you need a one. You need a true wide receiver one. I think they still believe that Diggs is. I think when Bean says Diggs is a wide receiver one, I think he still believes that. And I don't know that we should believe that, but I think they believe that, and they have to, essentially, based on what they're paying him.
Short term, like this is the way it is this year, and we're going to speak it into existence.
But you don't have to, because I think the drop-off is significant from wide receiver 1 in this year's draft to wide receiver 5 or 4 or whatever might be available to you when you're picking at the end of the first round if you're the Buffalo Bills, unless you're moving up. I would much rather see them get somebody that has the potential to be elite and physically elite, meaning they look imposing. They're just big. Rousseau looks imposing, but he doesn't have the mean streak yet. Maybe it develops.
Well, he wants to get paid. This is the year.
That's right.
Right. So
right. Physically, Rousseau looks like. I mean, you remember when we saw Rousseau when he came up to us at training camp at Fisher. I would shake this guy's hand. I'm like, this is the biggest hand I've ever shaken in my entire life. This guy is physically imposing. Does he have that mean streak? That remains to be seen. Could he be that guy? Maybe. He's not Nick Bosa. Few are. But that's the kind of player that you see on this stage, on this platform, and it's like, ooh, that's what we're missing.
Well, again, it's the Mahomes effect. He can make crappy receivers serviceable. I mean, Marquez Valdez-Scantling, Mecole Hardman was a Jet. Like, the Jets let him go, basically.
Yeah, he couldn't cut it in New York.
You couldn't cut it in New York. Come on back, kid. And you're the 5th wide receiver here. Now, Rashee Rice could develop into a true number 1. Mm-hmm. But is it healthy, or is this the prudent thing to do is, all right, we have to look at that team, meaning Kansas City, and how do we get by that team, meaning Kansas City? And to me, it still comes back to, all right, next time, don't let Chris Jones throw your left tackle into your quarterback. Or maybe get some more pressure on Patrick Mahomes. Look, Patrick Mahomes was getting pressured last night. It was uneasy for Chiefs fans because of that Niners front 7 last night.
And I'll give Brock Purdy credit. He was pressured a lot, especially in the second half. That Chiefs defense tightened up and allowed just over 100 yards to the Niners in the second half, but Purdy didn't lose them that game. I mean, I'm sure there are throws he wishes he could get back and maybe some choices that he wishes he could do over, but I thought he played with poise. It didn't look like the moment was too big for him, and that's their guy. They've got their guy. I think Shanahan and Purdy make for a pretty good combination, and you want to call him a system quarterback or a game manager, I don't think any of that matters. I think you have a coach who understands the limitations of his quarterback, but is going to put him first and foremost in positions where he can make those plays and make the choices appear easier for you if you're Brock Purdy.
Well, all right, so go back to the infancy of our show here, and this was the Josh Allen. We knew the answer to this. With or because? Brock Purdy with or because?
You can win games because of Brock
Really?
Purdy. I think so. I think so. I mean, the Detroit game felt like a game that they won because of Brock Purdy. Brock Purdy played really well in that Detroit game, in the NFC Championship game. I'm convinced he's their guy. I know that going into this season, a lot of us had questions. I know you thought it was crazy. When I said, look, Brock Purdy, we were having a fantasy conversation. I'm like, you could do worse than Brock Purdy. Blah. Like, no, Brock Purdy's legit. In that offense, Brock Purdy's fine. He's going to be just fine.
Is that how he sounded?
That was you kind of laughing at me. Yeah, okay.
We
whatever.
should. What do you think tomorrow? Going over our bold predictions tomorrow on the show.
We should do that. Yeah, with the dust settling.
I've been pushing this off here, but what we do every year, right after Labor Day, hey, here are our bold predictions from this year, and then we invite everybody along to do the same thing with us. And the majority of this will be.
Well, it's
funny.
entertaining and it's funny to look back at where we were then. And that's not even that long ago, man. That's Labor Day. That's a few months ago.
That's how the NFL season is just such a joy.
And how quickly things can change. And, it's the best. Going to miss it. Kind of down about it, to be honest with you. Getting together with the boys tonight. We're just going to down several beers and just commiserate about the end of the football season. I don't like it.
Yeah. So talking today with Evan Shute over at Shute's Apple. Oh, what are you going to talk about baseball? Like, oh, come on. We're still going to talk football on the show here, dude.
Yeah. It has become a 12-month-a-year news cycle. It covers everything.
Well, they hit the pot. I don't want to talk about the darn parade in Kansas City or wherever, but we have news here today. We talked about Trubisky. He's gone, and actually, we'll save this for shots. So we know that the Texans are changing uniforms. We know that Denver's changing uniforms. Did you see this, Danger? Well, we'll have this coming up in a little bit. Which team in the NFL is going to go another new look?
If you're teasing it the way I think you're teasing it, somebody shared something with me.
Yeah.
And I saw it, and I'm like, that ain't doing it for me. But maybe I'm wrong, and maybe you're going in a different direction. So we've got a round of shots, and it sounds like, Gino, we've got some hot uniform talk on the way.
Yeah, this is just coming across the wire here. If you thought the Sabre season couldn't get any worse, I'm just laughing.
Just wait longer.
Yeah. Injury today at practice. We're waiting to hear the extent of it. We've got that story here coming up. Oh, have we crossed the point here where, like, hey, we got to rein everybody in Phoenix? We'll bring you some of the finger quote highlight.
Boy. Yeah. Do you think the live golfers are looking at it like, thank God?
Yeah.
That's exactly what's going on, right?
Yeah, like, we don't have to deal with this crap.
Yeah. Good. We can blame the Phoenix Open for all the defectors from the PGA Tour. It's the Phoenix Open's fault.
That being said, wouldn't you just like to go and kind of experience what that would be like? No.
Yeah, I don't know. Having gone to the PGA in our backyard and experiencing it and loving it the way we did, to go there and to see debauchery as it's kind of unfolding, it just does kind of have a different vibe to it. I don't know that one's better than the other. I'm not saying that we're better than they are. I just think I kind of like I liked our experience. I don't know that I would want to experience it any other way.
Yeah, how do we get to this point, Phoenix? We'll talk about that.
All right. We'll get to a round of shots next here in the Sports Bar. Last call is coming up as well. You can join us. Pull up a stool at 866-4FAN, 585-866-4326. The moment is here. This is your chance to shine. The spa at the Del Monte has the secret for the best Valentine's Day gift ever. You ready? Nothing says I love you more than a gift card to the spa at the Del Monte. They may not tell you what they actually want for Valentine's Day, but a gift card from the spa at the Del Monte will show how much you've been paying attention. Gift cards are available for purchase in store or online at delmontespa.com.
You're listening to the Sports Bar with Danger and Battaglia on 95.7 FM and AM 950, The Fan, Rochester.
Odyssey has sports for every fan. Keep up with your favorite teams from across the country and get the inside scoop from experts. AUDACY. Odyssey.
For over 50 years, Heritage Jewelers has been a place where love is celebrated every day. And Valentine's Day is all about celebrating love. I'm Alec Iovino. From classic jewelry to trendy styles, or an engagement ring that begins a lifelong celebration, we're making shopping this Valentine's Day simple and affordable with gifts from $125. Gifts for family or jewelry that celebrates an event. Exceptional quality, value, and style. This is our heritage. Let us be a part of yours. Heritage Jewelers at the corner of Ridge and Long Pond Road in Greece.
Check out these great shows coming to Darien Lake in 2024 and get your tickets at livenation.com today. July 12th, Red Hot Chili Peppers. August 1st, Jason Aldean. August 22nd, New Kids on the Block. And September 27th, Creed with 3 Doors Down. Enjoy live music all year long. Get your tickets now at livenation.com.
At Fisher Investments, we may seem like other money managers, but we're different.
What makes you so different than the rest of us?
We ensure clients receive unparalleled service at every step of the relationship.
Tell me more.
Our investment counselors focus on service over sales, prioritizing clients' needs.
How do you make money?
We don't sell any commission-based products. We have a simple management fee based on the value of our client's portfolio. So we do better when our clients do better.
What about client portfolios?
We get to know each client, their finances, family, health, lifestyle, and more, and then we tailor a portfolio based on their specific goals and needs.
Your clients really come first then, huh?
Yes, we make them a top priority. Our goal is helping them achieve a comfortable retirement.
Wow, maybe we are different.
At Fisher Investments, we're clearly different. Learn more at FisherInvestments.com.
Investing in securities involves the risk of loss.
Batavia Downs is proud to announce the return of their Brewfest on Saturday, February 17th. Presented by Genesee Brewery and Rohrbach Brewing Company. Be sure to get your tickets and sample from various local breweries. Tickets are just $30 and includes $15 of free play, a sampling cup, and hors d'oeuvres. Hotel packages available too. Head to BataviaConcerts.com for tickets and info. That's the Batavia Downs Brewfest on Saturday, February 17th.
When people have a craving to explore new and traditional Asian cuisines, they head to P.F. Chang's, where scratch-made dishes come from the 2,000-year-old tradition of wok cooking. P.F. Chang's wanted to explore new possibilities for their website. They turned to AmericanEagle.com. AmericanEagle.com re-architected P.F. Chang's website, integrating multiple third-party systems to create a unified digital experience. The results? Improved page speed and performance, personalized content based on users' location, intuitive online ordering, an increase in organic search visibility, and a 40% increase in new users. For scratch-made Asian cuisine, visit your local P.F. Chang's or go to pfchangs.com for website design, development, digital marketing, and hosting that produce efficiency, revenue, and results. Visit AmericanEagle.com. P.F. Chang's and AmericanEagle.com. Another example of the best businesses in the world, turning to the best in the business for websites. Go to AmericanEagle.com or call 877-WEB-NOW1. That's 877-WEB-NOW1.
Recently, the lyrics to Beethoven's Fifth Symphony were discovered.
If you've been injured by a truck or by a car,
call 444-4444. William Latar. Hurt in a car, call William Latar. Call 444-4444.
Who knew? Main Street, Williamsville, West Main Street, Rochester.
No one talks more about local sports than the Fan Rochester. That's because we're the only sports station with hosts who actually live here. 95.7 and AM 950. The Fan Rochester.
Tom Walls didn't invent the cheeseburger, but we're pretty good at making them. Fresh ground steak pressed out daily using a glass pie plate. I'm Abby from Tom Walls Avon, and I want to cook you the best cheeseburger in upstate New York. Tom Walls, good, good.
Tom Walls. The Fan Rochester Sports Update.
For the first time in 19 years, we have a repeat champion in the NFL as the Chiefs taking out the Niners in overtime. One thing from the game, Andy Reid being confronted by Travis Kelce.
He caught me off balance. I wasn't watching. Cheap shot, but that's all right. He did good. He was really coming over just put me in, I'll score, so that's really what it was. Well, I love that. I mean, it's not the first time, so I appreciate him.
One Bills note today, as there's another coach that's been added to the staff. His name is DJ Mangus. Offensive quality control coach will be his title. He's a former wide receiver at William & Mary. From Sabres practice today, Owen Power leaving early. He was to undergo imaging this afternoon. The Sabres hosting the Kings tomorrow night. Amherst's back in action Wednesday when they play at Utica. Gene Battaglia on the sports leader, the Fan Rochester.
Epic victories, heartbreaking defeats. No matter your team, no matter your game, we talk sports. The Fan, Rochester.
Happy Hour continues in the sports bar with Danger and Battaglia. Time for a round of shots.
Yeah, we'll get to that hot uniform talk in a second. But first, let's review some of the highlights from the Phoenix Open. A shirtless fan ran out onto the 16th green and did snow angels in the bunker. There was another woman who fell out of the grandstands at that same hole, and she had to be attended to. Zach Johnson telling fans to shut up. Jordan Spieth had fans yelling during his backswing. Spieth turning to the fans, asking, "What the F?" Other spectators filmed apparently urinating on a floor in the tented village and fighting with one another closer to holes. Pro Hyung Hung Hang calling Phoenix an S show.
Was that wrong? Should I not have done that? I tell you, I gotta plead ignorance on this thing, because if anyone had said anything to me at all when I first started here that sort of thing was frowned upon.
Yeah, it's jump the shark, right?
It used to be this cool, kitschy thing. Now it's like
jump the shark. Now you understand why the biggest names in the sport defected from the PGA Tour. It's things like this. Like, we take it as fans and spectators. We want to have fun. We want to have a good time. You want to yell Baba Booey or mashed potatoes. All that stuff it drives them crazy. They hate it. There are millions of dollars on the line for them in purse money, and they don't want some Yahoo fan screaming in their backswing.
Yeah, or hey, I'm ready to line up a putt, and here's somebody that's going to go dive into a bunker. It was so bad, Saturday they cut off alcohol sales.
Yeah, I'm not a prude. Don't get me wrong.
No.
I want everybody to have a good time, but what you're describing, now it makes a lot of sense. It's becoming very crystal clear why a lot of the biggest names in the sport said, you know what, we'll go and make our money playing live golf instead of PGA Tour golf. This event might be one of those reasons why.
Marathon world record holder Kelvin Kiptum has died. He was killed in a car crash in Kenya. His coach also dying in the accident. He was set to be one of the top contenders in Paris coming up this summer. Kiptum was 24.
Horrible.
According to Money Puck, the Sabres have a 3.7% chance to make the playoffs. Buffalo now 12 points out of the last spot with 5 teams ahead of them. 13 games to go until the NHL's trade deadline. Buffalo tomorrow night hosting the LA Kings. From practice today, as we mentioned the update, Owen Power leaving practice, undergoing an MRI. For what? We're not sure, but that can't be good.
So Money Puck saying a 3.7% chance to make the playoffs for the Sabres.
So you're telling me there's a chance?
I don't know about that one.
Yeah, a lot of silly rumors out there, too, about the Sabres trading for this star or that star. Yeah, like that would make a difference. It wasn't a good weekend for our local teams. The Amerks losing a pair of overtime games to Syracuse. Team at Utica on Wednesday. The Nighthawks lost at home to Georgia. They're off this week. Next game is at home on the 24th. RIT hockey, just 2 of a possible 6 points against Mercyhurst. The Tigers home Friday and Saturday against Air Force. And Joe Girard came in, did what you thought he would do. He scored 18 as his new team, Clemson, winning at the Dome. Next game for Syracuse tomorrow night against number 3 North Carolina.
Feels like a loss. I have no problem saying it. Feels like a loss when they take on North Carolina.
So we have not 1 but 2 bits of hot uniform talk because Danger pointing out something to me. Now I'm going to go with the official one here. Which team from the AFC has announced officially that they're changing their uniforms? That would be the New York Jets.
Oh, well, that'll take care of everything.
Yeah, in a social post earlier, Chairman Woody Johnson confirming news fans had been hoping to hear that the team will unveil new uniforms in April. In the post, Johnson confirming that the legacy white uniform, which debuted this year, will become permanent and be joined by green and black versions of the uniform.
The legacy white version that was debuted this year?
I'm thinking like Richard Todd era. Is that what they're talking about? I think that's what they're talking about.
With the old logo, the old Jets logo?
Yeah, with the old.
Because I keep losing track here. The old logo became the new logo, and then the old new logo actually gave way for now the other old logo, who is now the new logo. They have like 2 logos, right? Like the Namath era logo and the Richard Todd era logo. Yeah. So does legacy white mean they're going all white with the Richard Todd logo?
Which, okay, like how does it work when, sure, they were losers back then? You share your news because I hadn't seen this.
No, my buddy Tony sent me these last week.
Wait.
I know.
Like a Tony from Greece?
I hope you're sitting down. I have a friend from Greece named Tony. And he's a Bears fan, as I am, and he sent me a tweet from DJ Moore of the Bears with the uniform, the Bears like white on white uniforms. They look like the Broncos uniforms this year that they wore with the white helmet and the white on white, the snow out kind of like look. And as a Bears guy, I'm like, just don't mess with the uniform.
Okay. Danger, there are certain teams in sports where you don't touch the uniform.
Yankees.
Raiders.
Yes.
Like Yankees. I don't like the fact that the Red Sox went to the City Connect thing.
The Chiefs don't really alter their uniforms.
They don't. No. Nor should they. And the Bears should be in that category. What are you doing?
The Steelers don't do it. I mean, the throwback that you have to wear, they force you to wear or whatever, fine. But this, no. Come on, guys. If you get excited over it, I can't. Again, I don't want to judge. If you think, oh, this is cool, I can't wait. But like, we all kind of saw the Bears go with the orange helmet, and we were disgusted by it. Now you've got a white helmet with the orange C logo.
There's a problem.
Don't mess with it
when you're turning on your TV, and then it takes you a few minutes to like, what am I watching? This is not Northern Illinois against some other college I'm not familiar with wearing alternate uniforms.
Yeah. You have a classic look. The Bears, the Packers, the Steelers, the Chiefs, the Raiders, the Yankees. Don't alter it. Just leave it alone.
Finally, you got a feel for broadcaster Steve Levy.
Uncle Steve.
Yeah. SUNY Oswego grad.
That's right.
Once the voice of Monday Night Football, Levy's gig over the weekend was to call the Puppy Bowl.
Oh, boy.
Appearing in the Puppy Bowl were Bark Purdy, Patrick Mabones, and Snack Prescott. The annual broadcast on Animal Planet was highlighted by this pairing, Travis Clausey and Taylor Snift. Levy commenting that they're quite the power couple. There's probably more dad jokes in there when it comes to
whenever I see Puppy Bowl, whenever I see a dog really wearing any sort of gear, and this includes my dog. This includes my Walter boy. He's a good boy. But, man, I want to call Animal Protective Services on my wife. She puts these boots on him so he doesn't get his paws dirty. And I'm like, that dog doesn't want to wear booties when he goes out for a walk. All right? The Doberman down the street's looking at him like, yeah, nice look, pal. He can't even go. He can't cross the street wearing those things.
No.
He's getting shamed by the other dogs in the neighborhood. He doesn't want to wear those. And your dog doesn't want to wear your team's jersey. Your dog doesn't want to wear a jacket. Your dog is saying, listen, lady, take this sweater off of me. I'm serious. I have some dignity here. Take this sweater off of me. I don't want to wear it.
You have no idea what I'm walking home to tonight. Because we're going to have birthday cake. It's Beasley's 3rd birthday tonight.
Oh, that's good for Beasley.
That's good for Beasley. But Beasley's the same thing where, yeah, let's dress him up for Halloween. No, he's a dog.
He doesn't want that.
No,
he doesn't want
that.
You know what? Not only does he not want that, he's going to look at you in disdain, and then he's going to lick his own butt before coming up to your face and licking your face. That's how he's going to get back at you. Don't dummy him up with doggy Chanel. Don't throw the cashmere sweater on your dog. He wants to be a dog. Let him be a dog. My house goes. I won't do it. I can't participate. It drives my wife crazy because he's going to track mud throughout the house. I'm like, yeah, we got a dog.
Yeah,
it's what dogs do.
Yeah, and it'll come off real quick.
Dog's going to make the carpet dirty. Dogs do that. We're not putting boots on him. She puts boots on him. I feel bad for my boy. That's my boy. I mean, Walter's such a good boy. That's my buddy. He's watching games with me every night. And I think he and I were on the same page because I understand dog wants to be dog. Dog does not want to be GQ cover model wearing expensive designer sweater, cologne, and booties, for crying out loud. So I can't watch the Puppy Bowl. I feel bad for all the
Puppy
participating
Bowl,
dogs.
Every single year, Puppy Bowl is on in our house.
Oh.
But no, what is better? What dog show on Thanksgiving? Yes. That I will watch.
Yes, for sure. Last call, 866-4326. If you want to pull up a stool, 585-866-4FAN. We'll preview tomorrow afternoon here in the Sports Bar next.
You're listening to the Sports Bar with Danger and Battaglia on 95.7 FM and AM 950, The Fan, Rochester.
Odyssey has sports for every fan. Keep up with your favorite teams from across the country and get the inside scoop from experts. AUDACY. Odyssey.
Do you have 3 ex-wives and your current trophy wife wants a life insurance policy 3 times the size of the policies you had to purchase for your previous mistakes? If so, you need to call Big Lou at Term Provider, 800-700-6898. Big Lou is intimately familiar with your problems, and if you're 50 or 60 years old and in reasonably good health, a $1 million policy should only cost about $100 to $200 per month. Big Lou may have a solution for your previous policies as well. You may even save enough money to lighten the load on your new $1 million policy. Remember, call Big Lou. He's like you, except he's only on number 2. Call Term Provider at 800-700-6898. That's 800-700-6898. For $1 million in term life insurance that you can live with. Call Big Lou at 800-700-6898. 800-700-6898.
Tell her you love her this Valentine's Day by stuffing some singles down her thong at the Tally-Ho Gentlemen's Club. Cash, the gift she's sure to love. She deserves it because she's your Valentine.
The Tally-Ho Gentlemen's Club, East Henrietta Road. What happens at the Tally-Ho stays at the Tally-Ho.
The Ide family of dealerships is locally owned, and when you do business with us, you're also supporting the hundreds of local organizations that we're part of. So when you're in the market, visit us at Ide Honda or Ide Volkswagen. We're here, we're local, and we'd love to earn your business.
ABX Innovative Packaging Solutions is hiring for entry-level and experienced production workers, maintenance mechanics, and more. $1,000 sign-on bonus for all positions. Shifts available. ABX offers competitive wages, benefits, career growth, training, and a team-oriented company culture. Located on the Erie Canal in nearby Macedon, New York, join ABX and be part of the growing packaging industry. Work in a collaborative, innovative, inclusive environment where employee safety is the highest priority. Apply at abxpackaging.com. ABX is an equal opportunity employer.
Cracked windshield? Chipped windshield? Get it fixed fast. Call your neighborhood glass company, Ray Sands Glass. Ray Sands Glass accepts your insurance. Did you know you can choose any glass company you want for repairs? Come see in Rochester or Canandaigua, or we'll come to you. Choosing Ray Sands Glass means you're doing business with your neighbors. And Ray Sands Glass does all types of glass repairs, including auto, commercial, and residential. Just go to raysandsglass.com and request a quote. Don't wait. Go to raysandsglass.com and get your glass fixed fast.
We fix it fast.
Paid actors represent actual clients.
After a truck hit me, my attorneys at the Barnes firm got me $5 million, 5 times more than insurance offered.
When a car hit me, I called my attorneys at the Barnes firm. They got me $2 million, 40 times more than the insurance offered.
Hi, I'm Rich Barnes. Is your case worth more than the insurance company says? My job accident was worth 11 times more. What's your case worth? Call our Rochester office now and find out.
Past results don't predict future outcomes. Main Street, Rochester. Paid actors represent actual clients.
After my motorcycle accident, my attorneys at the Barnes firm got me $300,000, 5 times more than insurance offered.
After my car accident, insurance offered $50,000. My case was worth over $1 million more.
Hi, I'm Rich Barnes. Is your case worth more than the insurance company says? Call the Barnes firm now. You might be surprised.
My case was worth $800,000.
What's your case worth? Call our Rochester office now and find out.
Past results don't predict future outcomes. Main Street, Rochester.
Batavia Downs is proud to announce the return of their Brewfest on Saturday, February 17th. Presented by Genesee Brewery and Rohrbach Brewing Company. Be sure to get your tickets and sample from various local breweries. Tickets are just $30 and includes $15 of free play, a sampling cup, and hors d'oeuvres. Hotel packages available too. Head to BataviaConcerts.com for tickets and info. That's the Batavia Downs Brewfest on Saturday, February 17th.
Zone Comfort Solutions with ductless heat pumps are the most efficient way to heat and cool your home.
Scott Arnold, founder, Rycor HVAC.
Mini splits will save you money. Rycor's heat pumps provide year-round comfort and energy savings. Take advantage of rebates, tax credits, and 0% financing. And for a limited time, Rycor is offering an additional $500 off per unit. So act now. Winter, spring, summer, and fall. All you've got to do is call. You've got a friend in the business. RycorHVAC.com.
Pull up a stool and join us. 585-866-4FAN. 866-432-6. The Sports Bar with Danger and Battaglia on the Sports Leader, 95.7 FM and AM 950, The Fan, Rochester.
Both teams had plenty of opportunities. Our defense was playing really well in the first half. Our offense couldn't, we sputtered a little bit. And then when you play a quarterback like Patrick Mahomes with a good offense, you got to put up touchdowns, not field goals. They're a really good team. So, like I said over there, you got to score touchdowns if you want to, win these games and beat the Chiefs.
Niners tight end George Kittle. Boy, haven't we heard that before.
Yeah.
Field goals against the Chiefs ain't going to cut it. You got to score touchdowns. Kind of knew that when you're settling for field goals in certain situations there last night that it wasn't going to go your way. Kittle also, by the way, like when he left, the way he left there late in the game, I'm like, oh no, come on. Mm-hmm. You can't. You got to get back in. And sure enough, he did get back in there, whatever he was dealing with. Well, let's hear him talk about his injury.
Something I'll have time to deal with. It's an upper body injury for my hockey guys. Besides that, need a little help. And, at this point, I couldn't, play every single play. I had an opportunity to get back in there late, but obviously it wasn't enough.
So he probably banged up his shoulder, got it shot up.
Popped in, yeah.
Got right back in there.
Jeez.
That's football, man. That's the end of the season, last game of the year, and everything on the line. When they saw him run to the locker room, I'm like, that's not good. He's got to come back. And he did come back. God knows what happened while he was in there in that training room, but he got back out on the field. Gutty performance, but not enough. The Chiefs get the win. Tomorrow, we'll be joined by Matt Perino of the Syracuse Post-Standard. We'll talk some Buffalo Bills at 3:25.
Yeah, and Emmerich's head coach Seth Appert is the team. All right, you took Syracuse to overtime twice over the weekend, and now 7 games in 10 days for this team coming up.
It's a tough stretch.
Yeah.
We'll see if how the team is preparing for it when Rochester Americans head coach Seth Appert stops by the Sports Bar tomorrow afternoon at 4:25. I'm not going to point you in the direction of Jay Binkley, who joined us in the 4 o'clock hour. But if you did miss 13 Web's Mike Catalana and you wanted to catch up on that conversation, we've got it available for you wherever you get your shows. You can search out the Sports Bar and Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and of course the free to download Odyssey app. We will be back tomorrow starting at 3 o'clock. JR Sport Brief next on The Fan.
You're listening to the Sports Bar with Danger and Battaglia on 95.7 FM and